And I'm going to be working on my NIDS
Yeah,
during
dude,
this.
go for it.
So.
Absolutely. No worries.
and the week just refreshed in Destiny 2, so I'm going to be doing that.
Okay.
However, Alejo, I have a question.
Okay.
Before we start this
We're
stream,
already
how about we
starting.
talk about those money sacks? I mean,
Uh, uh,
I mean loyal viewers.
Yeah,
yeah.
The walking, talking dollar signs, you
Nice.
mean?
Good job. Nice. There it is. I hate
Nah,
it.
I knew you had started the
Yeah, I
stream, and
know.
I was waiting for it for that
I
bit.
fucking hate it so much. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Table Talk, Discussion, and Discourse. I, as always, am your host, Alejo, aka Great on 95.
Ooh, you want to be our second host this week?
Sure, I'll be our second host. I'm our second host. Someone who wants your money.
Whoa!
Jesus
Plot
Christ.
twist.
I'll be even worse. Don't fucking tempt me.
That was a bit scummy even for me. Props.
Thank you.
I hate this so much. Get me out of
That's
this hell.
Who say your name?
Nice. Hey, he did it.
And I am your third host this week.
Oh.
ItsSneakyAdolf or SneakyAdolf, aka Aiden.
There you go.
Oh.
If you are my friend in real life, like Matt Mercer, or
Right.
or as I just call him, Matt.
Right, exactly. He is our friend in real life.
Yes.
Um,
We hang out all the time.
yeah. I go to LA.
I was at his weddings. I took the pictures. That's why show up in none of them.
That's true. Professional cameraman.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hey
I
Slay,
wasn't.
hey Royd. Yeah, so we'll get to today's topic soon, but of course, as always, we'll get to comments first. So, today we got a few comments from Lux, as well as Steely, as well as Draco Kraken. So,
A few comments from Lux?
yeah, a couple of them actually. Excuse
Oh
me.
God.
Just a couple.
So it's 2 hours now.
No.
When are we gonna start saving up Lux's comments and just have a podcast where we just do his comments?
If he leaves
Next
us
week.
5 in a row, I'll consider it.
Okay.
All right, Lux, you heard the man.
No,
Yep.
God.
Crack your knuckles and get to typing.
So,
The Lux episode.
so the first comments from Steely, he commented on session 0, actually, of Devils and Dice. Said,
Of what?
Devils and Dice!
What the fuck is Devils and Dice?
Devils and Dice
We've done this
are-
bit like a million
Yeah,
times.
yeah. He says, getting starting today and looking forward to it. Yeah.
Huzzah. Yay. Someone's watching. Somebody cares.
So a 10-hour episode? Yeah, exactly. 10 hours if we read like 5 of Lex's comments. It's true.
Yeah.
Then we have comment on 68 for the homebrew rules. The shortest episode I think we've done. So he says, Lex says, not much for me to say about house rules. I would make a point of noting that if you're using an official setting, you're free to change it however you want. We're not writing an official novel for a franchise here, or filming an episode or whatever. Excuse me. We're playing a private game among our group of friends. And
Yeah, like Devils and Dice.
yes, it's
Yeah.
true. That nobody else is going to see unless we record it. Huh?
Like Devils and Dice.
Like Devils and Dice. And the story we're telling is basically the equivalent of fan fiction. If you want to ask, what if Star Trek had D&D magic, and your group goes for it, that's all you need. Yep.
Yeah.
But I still agree that house rules should fit the tone of the setting, but not because of the argument Guy used. Oh, you're making the setting. Even with an official setting, you're creating your own version of it, so the tone is yours to set, and you need your house rules to fit your chosen tone. Not because your players will supposedly get angry if you violate the sacred canon of the setting, but because you're trying to create a specific tone, and you don't want any design choice you make to undermine it. but the tone you're going for is up to you and your group. He pretty much hit the nail on the head with his fake ending, though. This is pretty straightforward. Make sure your house rules don't mess up the game, make sure your players are okay with them, and you're probably good to go. I suppose, depending on your group, you might have to really stress the point that if they have an issue with a house rule, they should speak up about it. Though I don't know that personally, if you've invited me to give criticism, I will take you at your word. I'll usually do what people say they want, whether it's what they really want or not. Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
If I don't say anything...
Holy shit! Sorry,
What?
Go on.
Oh, yeah. If I don't say anything to that point, or at that point, it's probably because I honestly don't see any problems with the rule. And to be honest, if it's functional, clear, and doesn't keep me from doing something I want to do, it's probably fine as far as I'm concerned. And I think that's all I've got. Short post this time. We can't have that, so I'll see what else I can come up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, real quick, I gotta show you a picture of something I just
woman.
did on complete accident, but it was ridiculously lucky.
Okay.
So, I'm working on my NIDS right now, like I just said, and I have a Malanthrope, and he hovers above the ground. So he has like a little invisible flight stick.
Yes.
And I was poking a hole into a base.
Okay.
So, I wanted to get it as close to the center as I could, and so, there's the hole.
Okay.
And then look at the bottom of the base. Look at what I managed to do completely on accident.
Oh, wow. You made
Actually
Jesus.
got it, like, perfect center. And I'm like, I should have just done that from the bottom to begin with.
That would make most sense, yeah. That's crazy.
But holy shit, I did it.
Good
Anyway,
job.
I didn't mean to interrupt. Go on.
No, you're good. Nice. So,
Thank you.
next up. Oh, I plan on checking out Devils and Dice after I'm done with Critical Role. Hey!
Oh,
Cool.
so in like 20 years?
I think didn't they just finish campaign 2?
I see. So you prioritize Boo Lord than Matt Mercer.
Oh.
I see how it is.
It's to be fair, it's fair.
Next you'll
fine,
be
yeah.
saying I rank below Liam O'Brien.
Crazy.
Ah.
What a thought. All right. So,
Be.
this is Lux's other comment from episode 69. A couple of points to respond to here. First up, I would say everything the DM does should contribute to the story, but by that I don't just mean keep everything focused on the quote-unquote main quest. That's a whole different concept. In-character downtime, fluff, whatever other side activity there is all part of the story. This isn't a novel, movie, or any other medium where you're trying to craft a story by yourself and present it to a largely unknown audience with only an educated guess as to what they're going to care about. You have your world, and the players will tell you what parts of it they want to see through the actions their characters take. If they spend their time doing something, then that's something that had enough meaning to them to be worth exploring, which makes it something that belongs in the story. Doesn't matter if it wouldn't make it to a book or movie, it makes it into the RP session because the audience you have cares about it. Which, yeah, absolutely. Agreed. So in other words, I was saying that if you choose to use a DMPC, then you should make their existence relevant. Basically the same point as don't be Vaughn. Gotcha. And the other point is, I suppose it's true that a character could see something horrifying and decide they're not able to deal with it personally. Ooh, which I gotta talk about in a sec.
Okay.
That's an angle I didn't really think about. I would say, though, that whether that's contrived or not depends on whether they're making that decision because it arises from their character or the other way around. If you gave an NPC that personality trait specifically so that you could remove them from the party after their initial purpose was fulfilled, then by definition that's a contrivance. I'm not saying that's necessarily bad and you shouldn't do it, but it's something you would have contrived. If you execute it in a way that serves to demonstrate that the threat they just saw isn't something a person would necessarily have the courage to go face, that could actually be good. Plot contrivance like terrorism isn't always wrong.
Hey.
Callback. Oh. Yeah. Hey, if I cause the FBI to watch all your videos, that translates into views for you. Yeah. Thank you.
Don't worry, the FBI watches me plenty.
Yeah, right.
Don't ask me why.
So I actually have some thoughts on this, and it's sort of a medium take,
Okay.
I guess you would say, striking while the iron is cold.
Sure.
Glacial, in fact.
Oh.
I am actually like I don't prefer it, but I find a couple plot contrivances in like a movie or a story in general to be somewhat acceptable.
Yeah, sure.
I prefer stories with none, and if they are there, like they're not immediately noticeable.
Yeah.
It's just when you start getting to plot holes that I
Yes.
have an issue.
Yeah.
A contrivance is not a make or break. Absolutely. It's
Yeah. No.
it's definitely just a thing.
A contrivance can still be one of the things where, like, if a character had decided to react differently, then the plot itself might have changed, or they might have instead done something more advantageous.
Sure.
But it still makes sense within the context of the scene and the character for them to choose what they did.
Yeah, the only time where it becomes a problem is when it's contrivance after contrivance after contrivance, and it's and then it builds up and it becomes compounded, and then you're like, what is this story? Why is it so contrived?
You're sort of like a snowball effect.
Yes,
with
exactly.
contrivances. And like if by at the very end it's still a very small snowball because there's only one or two contrivances, it's not perfect, but like we'll make it work.
Yeah, it's
like
fine.
I as the audience will work to meet you on something.
Sure, yeah.
It's just when there's like 40 of them that I'm like
guys, and I'm trying to write a campaign for these motherfuckers. Imagine the pain and the fear and the anxieties.
Yeah.
It's gotta be perfect.
No, never claim that.
It's fucking
around. I know.
It's gotta be anime, but at the same time not have plot contrivance.
No. This is the Cthulhu campaign that I mean.
Right.
That's the one that has to be perfect.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm writing that to like sell, so I mean, it does have to be damn good.
You gotta make it good. Yeah.
To sell.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on DriveThruRPG when it's done.
Yeah. He's talked about this before.
Yes. Like somebody doesn't listen or give a shit.
Or both.
Probably both. At least not until you're playing it.
Right. But yeah.
So you're telling me all I have to do is purchase it on DriveThruRPG and I'll get the Cliff Notes for the entire campaign.
If you want to cheat, sure. You big bastard.
But if I want to rob myself of fun so that I can win Call of Cthulhu.
I can win.
Oh my God.
Winning.
You can win Call of Cthulhu.
That's what we do. So to go back to what he was talking about with if your angle is good, whether or not it's contrived, if it arises from their character and stuff. It reminded me, I'm actually, like, in my Wednesday game, I'm actually retiring Gimbal.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Retiring
as in he's just giving up adventuring and he's going to survive.
He's giving up adventuring, yeah.
I'm retiring my character next Sunday.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm retiring too. Me.
Just in general. Woo!
I have never retired a character before, but I think it makes sense after he's fought in a war, essentially.
Yeah.
And he wants to retire early with his copious amounts of gold he's made.
Right.
Nice. And raise his adopted son.
Cool.
Yeah, my character, they've been traveling, the whole party has been traveling with a singer of great renown who joined us to go to the wedding of the Lord that we were going to go and be bodyguard / entertainment for, right? And so, going through like weeks upon weeks of travel, continuing to go into lands that have something going on that's really bad, like there's like some undead rising, and there's talk of a evil wizard who is behind it, but like sending out his minions, if you will, that are kind of raising hell around the land. And we're like, they keep going towards the danger, and Gimble's like, guys, I can't really like do the fighting thing. That's not really like what I do. I'm really good at like playing my flute. That's what I can do, right? Like, and so it continued to compound, and that plus the whole wild magic thing that's creating the adverse effects, and him worrying that he's going to kill somebody by accident again, or
again.
Well, yeah, he's accidentally killed a few people.
Okay. I didn't know that was actually a thing he had done.
Yeah. Part of backstory, part of like his first introduction, in fact.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's been through a few things. And so he's kind of wrestling with that and all that kind of stuff. And then the singer offered to have him go with her in order to tour around and like be safe, and also
nice.
Keep his charge safe, because we picked up a runaway princess of a different land who didn't want to go back, and Gimble was just like, dude, I understand, fucking put on this makeup.
I'm also a princess.
Right, yeah. Put on this makeup, apply it every day, I'll teach you how, and we will tour around, and no one will recognize you because you'll be a part of this stuff.
Yes.
And so that's been working so far. Although we had a close call at one point. But it was just this whole thing of like, at this point, it's like, oh, you're offering me like one of my goals in life, to become a big name in this entertaining kind of thing. All I want to do is that. Right? Yeah. And then it's just like, I don't want to keep fighting.
No reason to turn this down.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
I don't want to keep fighting. Fighting is not what I want to do. Every time you guys go somewhere, something bad happens. We keep going, and you guys really want to go closer to this Shattermask guy, and I have no fucking want of that at all. So he's gonna go next session after we do one more job, basically. Nice. And then I'm gonna bring in a Swarm Master Ranger, because I want to try that out. Because
you're playing a Ranger?
Yeah, because Tasha's has Swarm Master, and Swarm Master actually seems fun.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so like, I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna see how it goes.
Tasha's that we give a shit about?
Yeah, it's like one of the few things that I actually care.
I was actually looking through my book just the other day with all my Tasha's thoughts.
Yeah.
And the character I'm replacing my paladin with is a warlock that's actually 4 warlocks.
Okay.
Because he sold his soul to a succubus.
Okay.
Solid
choice.
So Archfiend.
Okay.
It was by mistake, and he is like he is like a 13-year-old child.
No.
He's that age.
Never got the talk from his parents, actually, but none of the other succubi in like the area want to have the birds and the bees talk with him. So they're all like playing board games and stuff like that, and he's like, yeah, these succubi are pretty cool. And they're all
that's one way to get a soul. Fuck it.
And we're playing board games. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Satanic Panic again.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't mean to keep interrupting.
All the succubi are like, haha, yeah, that's what we do is we play board games. There was one time when my character actually got to finally meet his younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all like, hey, Rayless, you're like a succubus, so functionally mortal, right? And she's like, yeah. And we're like, cool, like, tell us some stories and pass the time. And she's like, oh, okay. And she started telling us stories, and they were all these raunchy as hell stories because they're the only stories she knows.
Of course.
Oh, that's kind of sad, actually.
But my character's like, so why if the stepsister was stuck in a hole that was too small for her, then why was the stepbrother like pushing her further in? That doesn't make sense. Like from a leverage mechanic.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And she's like, couldn't tell ya.
I'm just telling the story. I don't know the motivation. I just know the story.
So,
damn it.
That's great.
That's good, really. That's really good.
But one of the things that one of my patrons is the Fathomless from Tasha's, because it was going to be the Kraken, which was homebrew,
right?
Until like the Fathomless was a thing.
Yep.
So like,
How
I'm
much is
also
he donating? That's cool.
God damn it! Shut up.
Donating.
Yeah, patron.
He's a patron.
Patron.
He's one of your patrons.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway,
Oh
go on.
man, boo.
Yeah.
With the solid bits.
Yeah. Hey, man, it didn't go over everybody's head.
Oh, I got it.
I got it.
I got it immediately.
And yet, somehow I don't hear laughing.
What? I did for a second.
And yet, somehow I don't currently.
All right, well, anyway.
No, whatever, it's fine.
So,
I think you're just mad that I keep interrupting.
There's more. There's more.
Yeah, that's why.
There's more to this comment, by the way. So,
sure.
So the next section is about the actual topic that we did that episode. So,
yeah,
getting into romance, some good points were made, but I'd have found it more useful to see some discussion of how to actually play romance out in an effective and realistic way instead of just how to make sure everyone's okay with it. Because the actual execution is what I feel like I could stand to absorb more theory on. Same, honestly. I think that it was missing a bunch of, like, each of the videos that we covered were missing that. There was some that were from How to Be a Great GM, and we didn't, I thought about using those, but we have been covering him lately, and we might actually cover him again tonight.
Okay.
So, it's just one of those things where it was like, figured we'd do people we hadn't covered yet, right? And also, maybe learn something, but it was more just, make sure everybody's okay, like you said. So
yeah, make sure everybody's okay, and also don't do it.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't exactly seek out a lot of romance stories for personal consumption. It's not something I particularly care about. I'm just here to kill shit as our Lord and Savior Woden, the Allfather, has commanded. True. I will note
Praise
though.
be to Sigmar.
Yes, of course. I will note though, I've always treated any character's attempt to flirt with an NPC as a joke by default. Which means, unless the player is very clear that they seriously want to attempt to initiate a romance encounter with the NPC will either just brush them off or hit them with an extra-dimensional hammer, if the line is seriously bad. And then we all move on. If what they do is blatantly stupid under the circumstances, then the consequences of their actions are going to occur. Yeah, as they should. If it's
basically just go watch a Churdley's Fuckboys video and you'll get the idea. It's like, those are amazing.
They're so good. I fucking love that shit. If it's between two players, I'll just check they're both okay with that interaction, then I'll let them work it out between themselves like two adults. If they're not two adults, which is fortunately not the situation I've ever had to deal with, then common sense obviously applies. I'm certainly not going to permit any legally dubious activity at my table, if for no other reason than to keep my own ass out of the fire and everyone else's too while I'm at it. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, don't let minors bang on your table.
Yeah. When it comes to sexual encounters, I'm very much a proponent of not forcing the whole group to watch as two characters go at it. What they do on their own time is up to them, but at the table, we fade to black. Sure, yeah. If a player... Oh, go on.
You don't support forced voyeurism.
Yes. If a player does want to seriously attempt to start up a romance with an NPC, I'm still not even going to roll on that. Odds are I'm not really going to feel like getting into it, and therefore I'll just deny their request. And if on the off chance I do find myself interested, then it's just going to happen, still no role involved. On the other hand, if it's my DMPC they're interested in, I'm actually more likely to respond positively to that because that's a character I'll care enough about to possibly want to see how such a relationship will go for them. Though, that being said, there's still an independent character who doesn't just exist for the sake of being a PC's romantic interest. So if things don't go well, there's a possibility that they break it off. So I'd have to warn the player not to take anything for granted. That's fair. If the player just wants their character to have a significant other, and it's not about their interest in a specific character, what I'll most likely tell them to do is just make one up and be responsible for it. I can help them to fit that character into the world, but that part of the story will be that player's domain. I'm not going to cause a character to be forever alone because they're a PC, but I'm also most likely not up for playing that relationship out myself. If the player doesn't feel like they can manage it, then sorry, but I have my limits. That's fair. Yeah, absolutely. Romance is mostly not something I come to D&D for, though this has just been a lot of personal preference for me, and it was more than I thought I'd have to say on the topic, but any port in a storm, and I guess that'll cover it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'll go with it. It doesn't come up. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why I mean I don't really have much to say on the matter other than what we discussed in the episode, right? Like, yeah, it's just whatever. If it's there, it's there, and I'll play it out if somebody wants the romance to be there. Sure, I'm just I'm not great at it, so they'll get what they get.
And I think that's one of the problems with it as a whole, where it's just like you said, where it's not really what you come to the D&D table for.
Sure.
And even if that is something that you want at your table, or if a player wants it in the game, and if you want, like, if they want you to act it out, it's gonna, since it's such an uncommon thing to even have, no one is particularly good at it, and so it's gonna be awkward, but even more so than, like, just doing a voice, which can always... in the beginning, that's pretty awkward. That's kind of nerve-wracking to start doing voices and act like other people in front of your friends or other players and stuff like that. So, because it's such an uncommon request, and because acting it out is even more awkward than it already would be, it just doesn't come up enough, and nobody gets practice at it.
Yeah,
I will agree with you that not many people get practice at it. However... when you say that, like, it's awkward for someone, that depends on your friend group, and that depends on what you all are comfortable with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
There is an NPC who is chasing after my asexual paladin.
Right.
And hard crushing on him. And I'm like... Dude, I will tell you right now, as Aiden, I am in love with this bit. Like, it's one of my favorite NPCs because it's always a blast. However, when it comes to Morty's like, that's nice.
Right.
I don't know what the hell was going on.
Right, exactly. Makes sense. And yeah, so it's one of those things where, like, if it was like, I'll have to do it for Vampire because I still do that Vampire game on Thursdays before we do Devils and Dice. Devils and Dice.
What?
Before we do that bi-weekly, I do my Vampire game. And I assume at some point, because it's Vampire.
Yeah, that's a real vampire game.
Yeah.
You didn't get that one. Okay, never mind.
No. So yeah, I assume it'll come up at some point because one, it's Vampire. It's already got that allure to it,
So, human on vampire or vampire on vampire?
Could be either. Okay. Honestly, yeah.
Don't do Twilight, please.
No, God no. I mean, it's gonna be realistic. That's the thing. Most of the time, it's gonna be they're
miles away from Twilight. Good.
Right? Yeah, they're gonna be. Yeah, they're gonna be seducing them to mostly feed on them, but the other people are
right.
the other people are gonna, like, the people that are being seduced are gonna be into it. That's the thing,
because
right?
that's what seduction is.
Yeah, so depending on whether or not the vampire actually gives a shit, that is whatever. It'll progress however it progresses, but there's obviously the powers of you make them fall madly in love with you to the point where they might even start, like, hurting themselves in order to be with you. It's
jeez.
Yeah. Oh, it's fucked. Oh, I love Vampire. It's so fucked up. I love it.
Oh no, I know. It's just like to me that's less fucked up, more cringe.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole, like, you can do that in order to keep people to feed on for a while.
Yeah.
It's like a slow insanity. It takes a while before they get to that point. But yeah, so I'll have to get more practice through that, because that system is much more prone to it. You know?
Yeah. Or at least the setting is.
Yeah.
The setting and the rules are more prone to it.
Yeah. But anyway, Draco Kraken said on 69 as well, to the idea of the X card for this is too much. Wait, sorry. To the idea of the X card for this is too much. I am okay with the idea, but I have seen it become an issue in its own right. Gotcha. I understand now.
What, X cards in general?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There's a phenomenon where people who have less direct power of a situation are more willing to allow more. I have been a part of one shot that involved cards like this, where one player threw up the card anytime something was that may be considered offensive came up.
Ugh.
Party is attacked by goblins. Nope, offensive to Jews. I pull out a katana. Nope, you aren't a Japanese. You aren't player. Sorry. Nope, you the player aren't Japanese. You get the idea. Just a word of warning that some people, when given the slightest bit of control, will bend the campaign to fit their sensibilities. Yeah.
Oof. And that's where I'm saying, that is where I will put my foot down and say, no.
That's why you, as the DM, need the Y card.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. They put X, you put Y, and then they go, what's that? And you go, well, why are you doing this? Or yes. Hey, what did I miss? We just read your comment. Hey, Draco.
Yeah.
So
that one didn't take an hour, I don't think.
No. None of them did. We're only 30 minutes in.
Oh, that's good.
Because we didn't have anything to really, poke at. And then Steely, last one on session 1 of Devils and Dice, says, listening to Boris and Mez, it sounds like they need some couples counseling. Okay, now, Boris, you didn't get a note like the others did. Why don't you tell Mez how that makes you feel? God, it's so long ago.
A note like the others did?
Yeah, I remember in the very first session, I don't know if you do. Maybe it didn't mean anything to you, but very first session, every time a character
paying attention.
every time a character shows up to join the AAA, spoilers, they get a note. It's basically like a help wanted flyer. Remember that?
Yeah.
And since Mez owns you, literally, he got it.
I got the note, and you didn't get the note.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, no,
that is
I mean, I'm heartbroken over it.
Yeah. You should be.
But yeah, anyway, that's all the comments. So, we can get to the main topic. Today we're going to be covering probably one video, maybe two potentially. I don't know about that. We'll see how it goes. But we are going to be talking about traveling.
Huzzah!
In making it
adventure awaits. I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah. Adventure awaits. Huzzah! Did you see the newest one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. It was fucking great.
It was pretty good. So we are going to be talking about that and how to maintain interest in it, which is something that I think is a little difficult for me because sometimes I feel like, I don't know. So I haven't ran a game that I've needed to do travel for a while, but what I used to do was either use random rolls of D100 basically.
Yeah.
to see if they encountered something or not, right? And then if they did, it would be either a fight or something happened, along the road, and then we would go from there. Or I just went, it'll take you a few days.
Yeah.
You'll encounter some things. We'll get there,
Yeah.
But it's also like one of those things where it's just like travel can be very interesting. It really depends on how you do it. And I think that most of the time people just look at travel and they go, it's just travel. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
shame.
yeah, because because it's just one of those things where I think it's hard to make everyone interested in something that is innocuous.
Unless it winds up becoming not innocuous.
Right.
Well, seem innocuous.
What I mean is, like, if you don't have anything planned for that travel and it's just you just go A to B, like, it's hard to maintain that interest in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about travel?
So the way I typically do travel is I like to prepare a few notable encounters, so to speak. Unfortunately, the only one that comes to mind is kind of a spoiler for my game.
Okay.
But I like to prepare a few notable encounters that have a bit of story significance to them. And then from that, like, I'll do rolls if necessary to see, like, if they encounter it or not.
Right.
I prefer to have some significance in what they encounter, basically.
Okay.
But sometimes just traveling on the road, much like traveling on the road now, is kind of boring.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just sitting there and waiting, essentially.
Or walking and waiting, technically.
Yeah.
The way I like to do it is, and I'm in a better position, I think, than you guys at the moment because I have my own pre-prepared material world that I'll be having all my adventures on. But if I have the benefit of being able to plot everything out and, like, actually design the world, I try to put a lot of different interesting things just out there. And so if you're going down this road, like from City 1, if you're going from City 1 to City 2, there might be like 3 different, completely unique things going on there. There might be, like, I don't know, there might be like a herd of very strange animals, and, you just kind of see them, and maybe you'll go over there and see what they're like.
Right.
And, maybe there'll be a little copse of trees with a pond, and if you go near the pond, there might be like a little Undini there who just lives there, and they don't do much of anything. Actually, they just live there,
just hang out.
Yeah, they just hang out, and it's like, hi, this is my pond. Would you like to come and stay? Would you like a fish? Because, like, we got fish, and I mean, they're kind of overpopulating. Here you go. Like creates a little water spout and spits a fish up at you. It's like, here you go, have some dinner, Or if they're mean, if they're mean, it's like, here, have a fish. Yeah, it throws throws a fish at you,
Right. Yeah.
And so I like to try to design things that make you interested, and so you can completely pass it up, but if you check it out. It's like you're walking down the road, you see a nice little copse of trees with a pond. It's like, should we go over there? Nah.
Boo.
Yes.
They prefer to be called police officers of trees.
Yeah, I know.
God damn it. Yeah. Shut up. I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the benefit of you write out your story first.
Yes.
So you're able to plot these things out easily.
Yeah, and so when I am not able to, as is the case with Devils and Dice, I But that's the thing. That's just how I do it,
Yeah,
really.
no, absolutely.
'Cause, like,
That's totally
if I
fair.
know that you guys are going to be traveling, I pre-write something out.
Mhm.
And I do it that same way every time, where you can go see it,
Mhm.
and if you don't, then it's just there.
Yeah.
And then you can go hang out whenever you want. Like, when you guys went out that first day, spoilers, Steely, and you killed that hell pig,
Right.
that was just random.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, we want to get some meat. We don't want to pay for it. It's like, okay, go out and hunt this big fuck off pig.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I like to do.
Yeah, considering I like to do more sandboxy kind of stuff, I try to... I have, like, that guideline of what the world is like, usually, right? Like, you get the overview of the world, and then the stuff in the stuff in the cracks, you kind of... I at least, go... we'll figure it out when we get there, right?
Yeah.
Which is both good and also to my detriment, I would say. Because in the moment, sometimes I can't think of shit, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely something like where at that point, then I've added something that I need to now keep track of like, how does this change, right?
Yeah.
Is there something about this particular spot? Is this going to be important later or not? Will it be affected by anything if they go back the same way? You know, all that kind of stuff. So it creates more problems for me, and sometimes I don't remember that I created a problem for me.
Yeah.
But sometimes the players don't remember that I created a problem for me too, so it's great.
And then it all works out.
Yeah. Hey, Pizza Fun. I find travel to be a chance to add plot cues missed in previous areas in small exploration points. Okay. Yeah.
Ooh,
You
yeah,
can
that's a good way
definitely-
of using travel.
Yeah.
Now, I think that can be a little bit tricky depending on the actual state and locations
True.
of the campaign. Like, if you have a campaign that's set in, or like a story beat set in a city, and you're like, oh, we need to talk to the mayor.
Mhm.
You're not exactly gonna... Well, I mean, you might, but it'd be pretty weird if you just happen to meet the mayor out on the road
Yeah.
and he'll just shoot the shit with some strangers.
Obviously, you got to be more flexible with it at that point if you're using it
Exactly.
in that way.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So, like,
Yeah, yeah.
it not 100%, but I do like it. It is a good idea.
Yeah. I would also say that I think travel, at least, so in the current game that I'm in on Wednesdays, we did the whole travel to the city, from one city to another, in order to bring this lady to go get married, right? We played out the whole travel that one time. We're not doing that again. That's this was the all right, every day we figure out what we're doing, basically. That was kind of how it went, unless something very notable happened. It was mostly just, all right, we eat, we make camp, we go, that kind of thing. And even my DM was like, yeah, for this next like point in the campaign, I'm gonna change how we do travel. Because we were all like, yeah, that travel took a whole year out of game.
Holy shit!
We were doing, because we kept finding things and we kept getting caught up in stuff, basically.
Yeah.
And like, it was one of those things. But I do want to say that traveling like that, I feel like should be also something that we can promote more character interaction.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
PC interaction, because at least with my group, that I'm doing this with, we don't really talk in character too much unless we're in the scene, right? Outside of the scenes and we're traveling and stuff, people don't really talk too much unless they have already thought of something beforehand in another scene, right? And then it only lasts one time. And I try to kind of push that in there, because Gimbal is a talkative man, but also sometimes he doesn't. And I'm gonna lose that. Oh no.
Rip.
Well, he's alive, so I can do it.
Oh, I know. But
That's the thing. Like, I have to have somebody who gels more with the party and actually wants to go on an adventure, right? Even though Gimbal works, but I can't pass this up, right?
Yeah.
It's that whole what you want the character or what the character wants versus what you want, right? But anyway,
Yeah.
promoting that kind of conversation between characters in order to open up that dialogue is something that I find that's a little hard for people that are more inexperienced, because all the people that I play with, a lot of them are very much less experienced than myself or a few others. And like, it's just one of those things where I don't know how to do it in a way that doesn't feel like I'm taking over as another player character, right? I'm trying to like inject this conversation to try to get these characters to open up a bit more so I can learn more about them. But it's definitely one of those things of like, I don't want to be the only one talking here, but I have goals. I have things that I want to talk about, and I have things that I want to do, and when you don't do that, and when you don't talk that much, I can't really... I feel like an asshole because I'm talking most of the time. But that's the perfect time when travel. So it's just like,
right?
talk. But I can also understand, like, going, you travel a week, and then you're there. Right?
Yeah.
Which is a very simple way to do it.
Mhm.
A whole year out of game travel? What was your campaign? Berserk? No. No.
It was a single Dragon Ball Z power-up scene.
Technically, we traveled for, I think, a month in-game.
Wow.
We stopped at, like, one smaller village, got into a whole thing where Gimbal almost went to jail, and we found a bunch of random stuff along the way, and that's really it, I think? Yeah, I got attacked a few times. Some people tried to kidnap a few people, and then we stopped them, but it was just like, there was so much for the characters to talk about during the little village scene, and then I don't know, sometimes combat takes a while, and then sometimes we just don't get to the end of a scene because I have something to do, and I take forever because I have so much to say. I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely a thing. And so now we're doing a whole... Oh, the other thing was like, our DM would say, unless anything else, unless there's anything else you guys, eat in the morning, you eat lunch, you eat dinner. And so it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's also hard to, as a DM, kind of hint that you have that time to talk when people aren't very talkative, right?
Yeah, because it kind of...
Just straight up say,
Yeah, right.
or just straight up say, like, for the next however many days, it can be like 3 days, nothing of event really happens.
Right.
If you have anything you want to talk about, now's the time.
Well, that's the thing. That's what is said. That's basically what's said, right?
Oh, God.
But then it's like, nobody thinks of it because, again, it's just like, well, nothing's happened. I don't know what...
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
the weather sure is nice.
Right? And it was just... Even, like, one of the NPCs that I was talking to, the NPC of the princess, her name's Cindery. The NPC of the princess who was basically interrogated for a second because they were trying to figure out if she was the princess, at the previous town we were at. The whole time there, from that place to the next place that we visited, didn't say anything to me, but then once we got there, said something to me. And that's not entirely, like, that's also just the DM kind of forgot as well. Which is fine. Sometimes you can't keep track of a character, right? That's fine. But also in the conversation, the Cindery was like, well, I was gonna tell you, but then you would have freaked out. Like, you're freaking out right now, and I was freaking out. So so I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fair enough. But it's definitely harder for, like, when you're trying to there's a few characters that I haven't gotten the chance to talk to too much. And I want to learn more about them, but it's like it feels kind of like pulling teeth occasionally. Because the characters don't seem to want to talk. It's just like, oh man.
Yeah.
But I want to learn about it.
That sounds rough.
Yeah, it's something that it's gotten better.
Yeah.
It's definitely gotten better.
That's good, because I know that at least in Devils and Dice, you guys talk a lot.
Well, yeah, because we're all super good friends and we just fuck.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. My group is pretty chill too, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just they're super in character. And I'm just like, fuck, I'm also in character, but your character doesn't want to talk to me. I don't know. But anyway, travel. That's enough of that diatribe. So, let us move on to the video. Huh? My boys.
Oh, if you insist.
My boys. If you could join the watch together, that would be
right.
fantastic.
Oh, right.
You know that thing we do occasionally?
Yeah.
I was hoping I'd get to skip out on it.
Ah, well, it's unfortunate, isn't it? But, you know. Alright, so. We're gonna cover, this video from How to Be a Great GM. Whoa.
Okay.
It is quick tips to make travel in an RPG interesting.
I think I've
So-
actually seen this before.
Oh.
Like a long time ago.
Okay. Well, let's see what he has to say.
There we
then.
go.
Oh, are you good?
Yeah, no, I couldn't figure out what I wanted my name to be.
Oh, what is it? Gnawing what?
Gnawing hunger.
Ah, very good.
It's a gun in Destiny.
Oh,
Oh.
I'll consider. I suppose.
Hello and welcome to this episode of For Your Consideration.
Okay.
My name is Guy and today we're going to be looking at how to make journeying interesting. Now, if there is one video or film that we can look for or look to as a source of inspiration of how not to do it, it's something like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. That film is on record, apart from Lawrence of Arabia, as having one of the most amount of sequences of the characters walking and doing precious little else.
But-
So how do we make journeying interesting? Just
Wait.
So you can think of
Wait,
the scene.
Guy.
Basically, it's the scenes where they're like just walking along.
Yeah,
Like
they
the
take 2
cliffs
seconds.
and stuff.
They take 2
So
seconds each.
One might almost say that the entire movie is a walk and talk.
Yeah, they a lot of things do happen during their travel. You have the comedic moments. You have the moments of which they're like, okay, so Gimli falls down a hill because they're tracking the what was it the orcs? Yeah, sorry, the Orcai with Merry and Pippin, right?
He's talking about The Hobbit, not The Lord of the Rings.
No, he said both. He said The Hobbit and The Lord.
Yeah,
of
he
the
said
Rings.
The Hobbit and
okay.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I only saw the first movie, The Hobbit, because I didn't give a shit. So I can't really do that for reference. But, their travel through Moria isn't.
But I think what he's referring to, though, I don't know if he's referring to those scenes in particular. I think he's referring to the scenes
we're
where they
talking-
literally are just walking with musical accompaniment. I
Right.
think
If we're
that's what he's
talking
going
about the
for.
flyover shots of just the montage of them traveling, again, those take a couple of minutes.
I don't know if he was saying that they take a long time. It's just the most shots of them doing
guess.
that.
Okay.
I think that's what he said.
I mean, I'll bring it back. I guess it's just his point is you don't want to have that, a lot of them. In which case I would go, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, it never really bothered me.
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
do it. It's something like The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. That film is on record, apart from Lawrence of Arabia, as having one of the most amount of sequences
Yes,
the
most amounts
characters
of sequences.
walking and doing precious little else.
So then,
Ironic, I actually like Lawrence of Arabia, but
right, I haven't seen it, but what I would say is, so the amount of times where you're traveling and you don't do anything doesn't necessarily mean that it's not interesting.
Yeah,
that,
Because-
that can still be a vehicle for the progression of the plot.
Exactly.
yeah.
I don't think, I think maybe he means if we play through every single time. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that I think that's what he means, because otherwise, you just either hand wave some traveling, because again, he's just talking about amount, and that's
Yeah, it's just an amount of
Right,
shots.
and
So,
then
like, it doesn't really mean much.
well, so that's the
How
thing.
else am I supposed to see the beauty of New Zealand?
That's also true.
By going to New Zealand, you fuck.
That's also true.
That's Middle Earth. It's not
Yeah.
New Zealand.
yeah. Let me get right on that.
Now that the pandemic is over,
true.
kind of.
Yeah,
Um,
or even though the pandemic isn't over, now that I'm immune,
Ah, you can walk
now it's
through it.
over.
now that I'm invincible to it.
Yes. But I don't know if again he's talking about that there's a great amount in there, and so you don't want to do that. That's
Yeah,
what he's saying. And
yeah.
what I'm saying in response is, just because there's a lot of travel doesn't mean that's bad.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
'Cause, I like those scenes too.
Right. And like even in an actual game, if we want to do that, it's just like you don't. I mean, we got to get there. What am I supposed to do? Just go.
Okay,
They're there.
guys, you're walking down along the road, and you walk over a small hill, and you like look around as you continue walking.
Yeah.
Okay, day 2.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. Like, but again, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
So how do we make journeying interesting? Just having great big helicopter shots sweeping over a bunch of extras, wandering around looking like the main
Extras?
characters on top of some mountain in the middle of New Zealand is not going to cut it in our games. We really
Well,
don't.
yeah,
care
'cause
that
it's a
much.
different
So,
medium.
when
Your
I look at how
games-
to do that, there are a few things that I think
Your
we
games
can
don't
bring
have
together
Elijah
that will-
Wood.
That's true. But also, like, this is such a weird starting point. Okay.
Yeah, it's not really the best opener.
No.
games. We really don't care that much. So when I look at how to do that, there are a few things that I think that we can bring together that will make it much more interesting. And there's four things anyway that came to my mind. And that's encounters, descriptions, checks and challenges, and then surprise discoveries. So I'm going to unpack those 4 different things for you to help you to narrate your journey sequences that much better. Now, notice the key thing here is to narrate your journey sequences.
Okay.
If your characters have to travel over long distances on a campaign, from A to B, and it isn't part of the story, it isn't part of the adventure that you've planned out.
But it's already...
So the adventure is happening in the distant temple of Sesruksuskan. But in order to get there, the adventurers have to travel through the jungles of Akolokal, and the jungles of Akolokal, in order to get to those jungles, they have to travel from one side of the kingdom to the other.
Well, okay, so before you get to what you're saying, I hope you planned it out then.
Yeah, I sure fucking hope you did.
If you're making them go through all of these areas, I hope you've already planned out that something's...
You knew that it was gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. You have created this for yourself, so why do you... Why would it be boring?
In the situation which you have built for yourself,
Exactly.
you're still wrong.
Yeah, like, you quite literally did this, so why didn't
said
you
it!
make anything happen? Shut up.
So,
Aiden, he said it.
quite literally.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I actually have something kind of relevant to this.
Sure.
My world is very big. Ingridel is one continent out of... Currently, I don't know how many,
Nice.
because I haven't designed them, because...
I feel that.
Fuck. Designing the
Yeah.
history of one continent is a lot of fucking work.
I feel
Yeah.
that.
And
Yeah.
I'm not up to doing like 5 right now.
Yeah.
Um
Ask God Howard. He'll have something for you.
True.
because like you gotta like take into account cultures and how each culture changes from country to country,
Sure.
Yeah.
and then how a culture can change while within a country. So the Northwest culture might be different than the Southeast culture,
Sure, yeah.
and how cultures mix between countries. It's hell.
Yep.
Anyway, I have a plot that I've prepared for my characters, but I told them session 0, like, I have a plot prepared for you. It will not take you everywhere on the map, but you are more than free to say, fuck it, I don't care about this plot,
Sure.
and like throw it in the trash can and say, I want to march due east.
Sure.
And I'll go, and I'll prepare it for you. It'll be a lot of traveling. This continent is about 3,000 miles long.
Nice.
But you can absolutely just march northwest. Like, I'll prepare it. It won't be great, but
Make me, but I'll do it.
Don't tempt me.
I will
Don't make
do
me
my
do it.
best.
Yeah.
Dude,
I feel you.
that's actually the big brain move. Make a very like involved story
Right.
as DM,
Yeah.
and then introduce a DM PC that is trying to
Ruin
trying to
it.
like trying to break the railroad.
Yeah.
We should go to the south. Like, I know
Guys,
we gotta go
let's-
north, but
Guys, let's just go east.
Yeah, I mean-
I hear it's wonderful vacationing this time of year.
it's a beautiful part of the if you've never been there, you gotta go there before you
Yeah, you
die.
gotta go.
Oh my god.
What are you
How could you
doing
not?
going up? What are you doing going up north? There's bears there. You may die.
Yeah.
Don't you want to see this before you die?
Yeah, before you die. I love it. Yeah.
and
I
then
mean-
like you slowly start to convince one of the players, and like in character you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And then out of character you're like, fuck.
Fuck, I'm too
What have I
persuasive.
done? I've done this to
No.
myself. I'm my own worst enemy. Is this what it's
Situation
like to be a player?
in the situation which I have built for myself, I was in the wrong.
Ah.
What am I to do? Only Guy has prepared me for this.
Exactly. Draco Kraken says, I mean, theoretically, you can make a campaign that's nothing but a group of traveling mercs, aka a travel-only game. That is true.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you could. I don't see, like, again, this is, he's gone with the assumption that you have said, oh, I'm gonna make the players go here for the adventure, but then you don't assume that the travel there is a part of the adventure, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is really strange to me, because how the fuck am I supposed to get there if not by travel of some sort? I can't just go there. Just a force of will, I'm here and now I'm there. That is travel technically, but like that what are we talking about here? So please, Guy, I'll bring you back, but tell me your secrets.
Akalockle, in order to get to those jungles, they have to
Akalockle.
travel from one side of the kingdom to the other. The adventure starts when they arrive
Whisper
at
into
the
my ear,
jungle
Guy.
of Akalwattle, not beforehand. The
Okay.
journey to there is unimportant.
What?
But you feel the need to have the characters feel this great sense of distance that they've travelled. So
Sure.
they feel really isolated when they arrive at Akawakal, and they don't really have immediate backup. I understand that, and that's perfectly acceptable tactic to do to really encourage the PCs to plan for this adventure. They really want to know that they are going far away, and you want them to feel that as well. So that's absolutely fine. The 4 methods that I'm going to describe are going to help you make that journey easy without having to do the laborious checks every 3 seconds and turn what should be maybe a 10-minute moment in your role-playing experience and prevent it from becoming an entire session, because it can spiral out of
Sure.
control so
Okay.
easily. This is something that I as a GM often encounter, as I see where the
Oh, okay. I was
I got
just
you.
about to pause it. But a fantastic way to do this,
Mhm.
and I actually learned something from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
Oh my
was in like early on, like
I was
season
gonna say,
1.
yeah,
Oh,
not
The-
any of the later stuff.
The world felt so big,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
like a character can make it from the wall to King's Landing
Yeah.
in like 2 or 3 episodes,
Yeah.
and that's only a couple hours. But um you make time like in world, and you give them like a quest that's very time sensitive,
Hmm.
and you make it so they can just barely make it there if they like rush.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That way, like, even though it can be role played out in like as early as 10 minutes,
Mhm.
it still feels like you've got that weight of that distance between you and your objective.
Okay. Gotcha.
I don't recommend using this tool a lot,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it can definitely feel like, oh, why is the DM just introducing the stress for no reason?
Right. Yeah.
So like maybe like once or twice if you're like working on establishing your map, and then from there on, like once sort of this scale is determined a bit better,
Hmm.
then you can sort of like lay back on that a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say so. Hey, Indigo, how's it going? Um, yeah, because like if you do it a bunch, then it's just like you have the risk of one, like you said, them going, oh, why all the stress, but also going, well, we're gonna make it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like we're gonna make it.
Um,
It'll be at the very last moment, but we'll make it.
That's why one of the things I've done is I'm trying to drive home to my players just how big the city that they're currently in is.
Right.
It is the capital of a country, and 20,000 people live there.
Ooh.
Like it is a big city.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Does it take hours to get from one place to another?
it does,
Yeah,
and
that's what I figured.
Infinite distance.
and they may miss out on meals.
Yeah, okay. That'll
Ooh,
work.
because wait,
Yeah.
why will they miss out on meals?
Because they're like, if they're like hardcore, like, all right, we're gonna go from the Adventurers Guild to the Mages Guild,
Ah.
and we're just gonna go straight there. I'm like, all right, you're gonna get there at like 8:30 p.m. Like,
Mhm.
it may be a little bit late for you to just walk into the office of the person you were looking for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They may be there, they may not.
Mm.
Are you there at 8:30 p.m. at your workplace?
God, no. Please, no.
Like, you may be, but you probably got there like late too, like
True.
at noon. Not like a 9 to 5, and you're just staying till 8:30 out of the goodness of your heart so that you can talk to some adventurers.
I love this
Mm.
company.
Yeah, yeah, no, fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
You can 100% like just miss the person you were looking for
Mhm.
because you showed up at the wrong time, and the person there like at the desk will go, okay, well, like, what's your
We can leave a
name?
message.
Right, yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, totally.
I'll try to schedule in, like, I see you're in, like, clearly I see by the fact that you're loaded with weapons, you must be in some sort of rush,
You
so
belong here.
I will do my best to try to like shove you in,
Right.
but like
No
one
promises,
of
buddy.
Yeah.
one of my players last session was like talking to a person. The person's like, I can pencil you in as soon as next Thursday.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they were like, oh, what day is it today? I'm like, it's Tuesday. So you good 9 days.
Woo!
And they were like, oh, this person is busy. I'm like, yeah, because he's like a professor in the Mages Guild. It's like being a dean of a college.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
let me ask you real quick. One question: Are these guilds like not next to each other? You'd think that they would kind of be like in a
No.
guild district.
Nah.
No.
Oh,
Like
That
some are,
Yeah.
but like there's like a religion district more or less where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they've stuck
Ah.
all the churches. It's just the Adventurers Guild is kind of far out from the other guilds.
I see.
I can imagine
You
that
gotta go
one.
on an adventure to get there to prove you're a real adventurer.
Yeah,
It's located closer to the blacksmiths.
that's what I was
Ah.
gonna say. I would imagine that it'd be closer to something that's actually more relevant for it, right?
Yes.
Well, then,
Yeah.
so then, does that mean that the Fighters Guild is near it as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
It's still in service. I don't remember if they fucking abolished that in the newer shit.
nah. There even there's people that'll help train you in hand-to-hand combat in the Adventurers Guild
Sure. Yeah.
that
Nice.
also work at the Fighters Guild.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah, you can be members of 2 guilds at once. Forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Skyrim rules, baby.
Yeah. You can be a member
I
of
mean,
every
you can do
guild.
it in a
'cause fuck
game
it.
as well.
Yeah. True.
The superior game.
Just in general for Elder Scrolls, let's say.
Yes.
Because you can do it in every single one. But this actually, you've made me think that there's also the other part of travel and all that stuff that we should probably talk about a bit is like time,
Yes.
right? Time management, time how we use time in our games, right? Because it's one of those things where like we've all done it of like, hey DM, what time is it? And then you go, by the position of the sun and the moon, it's noon?
It's by the position of the sun and the moon,
Yeah.
rolls D12.
Yeah, right. Like,
I don't know. I actually like kind of can't relate to that. I've never struggled with time myself.
really? Okay.
I think it's because whenever like I'm in a campaign,
Hmm.
I am that player of like, hey DM, what time is
That's
it?
fair. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so because of that, when it's my world, like I know what time it is.
Right.
I know what fucking time it is. 'Cause it's my fucking world. But yeah, I also lately I haven't had a whole lot of trouble with that because it really depends. It's funny. The time usually, in my case, depends on what you guys are doing.
True.
If you guys are traveling, you're most likely, like, if you are just going on a trip, you're most likely leaving, like, maybe 10 a.m. because you want to travel during the daytime.
Right.
And then depending on how far you've gone, you can kind of guesstimate from that. Or if you're trying to sneak into a place, it's most likely evening or nighttime. So
Yeah.
I kind of use the situation to help me estimate time.
There's also too, like, if you have a good sense of distance, in your world,
Yeah.
you know, like, oh, it's roughly like gonna be an hour or two walk
Gotcha.
here.
Yeah,
And
that's an issue that I have because I'm bad at distance in real life, so I'm bad at distance in game.
Yeah, I am too, actually.
same.
All right.
Yay, we're all bad. Huzzah.
Yeah, I have no advice for how to get better at that.
Yeah, no, fuck.
y'all are on your own for that.
We're all on our
yeah.
own.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's time is definitely one of those things that I should try to keep track of better. And try to keep track of like how long something would take, because it's kind of hard for me to estimate sometimes of like how long certain things would take, because we can have a conversation for like 10 minutes and that's fair enough. It took like 10 minutes, so you didn't really worry about too much. But then when they say like, oh, I want to do this, like I want to go around the city and I want to see everything in the city, I'm like, all right, that's going to take you a while.
That's going to take you like a full day, honestly.
Yeah, and then when somebody else wants to do
imagine sightseeing in a normal city.
Right, yeah.
It takes time.
And then when somebody else is like, well, I want to do this, and it's like something that'll happen like in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes basically to like get to the place, and then we'll have an interaction. Then I go, oh fuck, what time is it now? Because sometimes I forget because we've now done a whole scene and I'm like in that moment, and then it's like, oh right, you're traveling the whole city. It's like been an hour.
Yeah.
Right? Like
you've seen it all though.
No, God no.
I know one thing that helps me, at least in between sessions.
Yeah.
Every time we have a session of Devils and Dice,
Yeah.
I always add like what you guys are doing and what you have just recently done and what I expect to be happening soon-ish
Right.
to my notes. So
Fair.
that way I'm like, okay, so they did this, they're going here, they need to talk to this guy, they got this item, they're taking it to whoever, yada yada yada.
Sure.
And also, if it is morning, noon, afternoon, just woke up, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And that helps me a lot in between sessions, because I'm like, fuck, dude. Sometimes I forget what you guys are doing, let alone what time it fucking is.
Yeah. I have this... Oh, go on.
I typically don't bother with like writing notes specifically of what time it is.
Sure.
But like I'll be like, oh yeah, you guys woke up in the morning and then you went here, and then I'll roughly know, it's about 10 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's usually what I do, because it's just like one of those things of just I like to keep it all up here like an idiot, because for some reason I take notes when I'm a player, but when I'm a DM I only take notes at like the end of a session.
Yeah, I do the same.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because it's bad for me, because I will forget shit. Right? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Dude, I've still not written out my notes of what happened last session.
Oh, dude,
Devils and Dice or your campaign?
My campaign.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
happened
jeez.
last Wednesday, which means it's been 6 days.
Yeah,
Jeez.
no, it's like, God, I haven't even written a note for my vampire game, like, at all. I really
Not a
should.
single note.
Not a single note has been written.
You're not gonna. That's gonna be really hard to write your song.
That's true. But, like... I at least for that one, it's been we've kind of been in the same place for the last few sessions, because just events that have been happening. One of the vampires has a ghoul, and he made the ghoul cause a distraction and he's told him specifically a very big distraction, so that all of the police that are in the area, so they can go and see the murder scene, right? So that all the police in the area would be distracted. And he made the ghoul fucking blow... Like, I made the ghoul go, okay, I can do that. And he blew up a bunch of cars in a parking lot.
Oh, Jesus.
Uh-huh. Well, that'll distract
It
them.
distracted them, because he was like, I need you to do this in 10 minutes. I need it to happen. I really need you to get them out of here. And I was like, Samuel's real good at doing stuff for his boss. He really wants to... He's an overachiever. Okay. You don't know what you've asked of him, but okay.
Make the mook, like, capable as hell, but also a dumbass.
Oh, absolutely he is. Yeah, absolutely. That is Samuel to a T. And he's great. And everybody loves him, which is good. But yeah, no, he did that, and that's obviously it's gonna cause more problems. But but like
Fucking
for
better.
now, hey, no cops. Pretty good. But yeah. Anyway, so time and all that, and let's continue with video.
Players are going, they think that there is something of value in this journey because I've set it up that they need to go on this journey. So they start to investigate stuff which has nothing to do with the main plot, and I end up getting bogged down with an entire adventure set on the journey to get to the actual adventure.
place for a mini adventure.
One does one's best,
Yeah.
and of course you try and make that as entertaining a side adventure as you possibly can,
Yeah.
but you can avoid it. So let's look at it. So the encounter idea. Absolutely, you can have an encounter. Maybe one, maybe two. But I would suggest that you limit your encounters to literally one or two. I wouldn't have more than that. I also wouldn't have them as random. Yes, you might want to use those random encounter tables, and they've existed for 50 years for a reason. We absolutely understand why they're there. Use them if you like. But I prefer to control my encounters.
Sure.
And encounters basically break down into three different groups. There is adversaries, there's NPCs, and then there's locations. Now, those are the 3 different types of encounters that I will use for my players' vilification as they are moving through this.
So something in response to Guy, he mentioned that encounters can be places.
Yeah.
Which is very true and definitely not to be ignored. However, one of the things that I did before I even made my world, I made certain stories that were tied to these locations that could be encountered while traveling.
Yeah.
I
see where you're going.
Like a hill with something special and magical about it or something. And that is quite literally just saved for the day I happen to need it.
Sure.
I've not statted out any of the monsters. I've not done any prep like that. But I know the general story. I know what they'll face if they happen to go there, and that's something that is waiting for me to spice up a bit of travel should I need it. And I would highly encourage anyone to do the same.
Yeah, the other thing that you obviously, if you want them to have a, I guess, more memorable journey, I would say doing that is a good way to do it, because they'll get very invested in investigating that place if you make it interesting enough, right? Going through that story, that's the thing that they'll remember about that journey. And if you don't want them to take, longer on that journey, you don't obviously put that in. You go for just a simple encounter, right? Just a simple monster encounter, or an NPC that you talk to. Although they could obviously go super in depth in either of those as well. Depends on how they are.
I know we still in one campaign I'm in, the one where I'm a paladin.
Yeah.
We remember this Lionel we encountered who was like, well, you all look particularly tough. Do you want to fight any? And it was quite literally just a guy challenging people to one-on-one fights.
Yeah, totally.
But we still remember his name, and we still wonder where he is.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes total sense.
And the DM's like, what is wrong with all you people? And we're like, but no.
But he was cool.
Yeah. But where's Larry though?
Where'd he go? I want to meet him again. But yeah, so obviously, just going off of what he's been saying, just trying to make it more interesting, but also maybe not take forever. It depends on how you want that travel to go, Just that location thing is a very good idea, but you want to do it when you're like, this is going to be the side thing, and this is probably what they're going to devote a lot of time to, because you probably know how the players are going to act by that point. I would imagine. But if you don't, and they don't,
one would hope.
Well, and so even if you think you do, and they don't act that way, and they just pass it by, then you just go, all right,
yeah, it is there.
Yeah, I guess I'll leave it there for a while.
Yeah,
maybe something will change with it the next time they get there, and then it won't be exactly the same.
Who knows? If I really want,
it gets slid back in the notes. Some addendums get made.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and who knows, if you really, really want to show that to them or send them there, you can always have something that leads there, and they're like,
absolutely.
oh yeah, we saw this before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it'll feel a little bit less like you're like just shoving them into a thing that you made.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It feels all, you know what I mean.
Yeah, you don't want to make it feel
sentence.
like a railroad. You want it to be natural.
just because you didn't see it doesn't mean that the bear's not there.
Yep, exactly. The old ruin that has a wraith that's been haunting it for 600 years can wait a couple more days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fine.
it'll be fine.
Just a
That's
couple more
why-
people are gonna die there. That's all.
Yeah.
That's why we're in no particular rush to get to the bathhouses with ghosts.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, come on.
The ghosts are undead creatures. They can wait. They're
They can
not
wait.
going anywhere.
Someone's paying you. Someone wants you
I mean,
to do it.
to be
Yeah,
fair,
we'll get there.
we were gonna go there as quickly as we could, and we did. And
I
then
know.
we
And
saw
then you
the thing.
fucking sent your goddamn
My
Hodor,
boy Scouts.
whatever his name was.
McCoy.
Du Bois.
I think.
Whatever.
No, Du Bois the crafter.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. Anyway.
Harangue to get to their point. As far as adversaries concerned, it could be bandits, it could be a random attack, it could be a middle of a battlefield that they have to travel through. Start to hint at sort of adventures and things, so it needs to be localized and it needs to be wrapped up in a very brief space of time. If you have bandits attacking, make sure that the bandit camp is no more than 100 feet away from the road that they were traveling on, so when they invariably go looking for it, they find it straight away and they find that these bandits have only just set up shop.
I mean, so I understand what you mean, but
yeah, here, this is what he's doing. He is giving you ways to because I remember that I have seen this video.
Yeah.
He is giving you ways to make the travel interesting without making it so that they go off and dive into rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole.
Which I understand. What I was gonna say is just with something like that, it doesn't matter the distance away from it, as long as it's not like a day away. You're fine,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
as long as you just go, okay, you're gonna follow these tracks and you're gonna take a little bit, and then you can get back to the road. That's fine. Like, there's no need for it to be 100 feet, because then it's just like, oh, it's over there. Neat.
Yeah, it's literally right over there.
Right? It's like,
unless you want to do that.
neato. Or, I mean, I guess it could be hidden, whatever. Bandits don't like being found, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, they should be a few 100 feet away from the road at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
They can set up at the very least like a staging area by the road.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
You can have a little outpost, absolutely.
Like I threw a bandit camp at my players that was it was a crashed pirate ship.
Ooh.
And what they had done is they had taken spare lumber from the ship that crashed. While they focused on repairs, they like stripped it however much they could. Built like very temporary huts, tents and stuff, and rolled the cannons onto a hill that was overlooking the road.
Okay.
And they had up by the road they had like 4 pirates exact a toll of 100 gold per person. And if you paid the toll, it is a lot of money, and it was basically trivial for my players.
Yeah, but money.
But I know they're money grubbing little demigods.
Exactly.
And I know there's no way they're gonna pay that. But the guy that was extracting the toll had 2 patches of powder on his hips that had been colored with prestidigitation. And if you paid the toll, he threw up a bit of green powder into the air. And if you didn't pay the toll and like they were under attack, then they threw the red powder up in the air.
Makes sense.
Neat.
Very cool.
But yeah, how the fuck do the bandits expect that to like continue? You know, and there's not many people that have $100 on them.
There isn't. It was actually putting a dampener on business going both ways.
I gave them too much credit. I was thinking they sized up whoever was coming by and they asked like the most that they thought they could afford. But no, you literally just told me, no, they're stupid. Okay.
No, I love it. I was just joking, but you took it into account.
The average toll was like 30 to 100 gold, which is still like 30 gold.
Yeah, 30 gold
go.
is
Like
for a peasant.
it's still a lot. in the world where like this was, it wasn't totally outside the realm
Okay.
of possibility.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But they
what?
just
What? You mean the D&D economy is fucked? Tell me more. Sorry. Anyway.
but they just saw like that this wagon was a traveling bar, and they were like,
Ah.
rubs fingers, they probably got some money.
I wonder if they have cash. Cashola. Yeah, that's fair.
No, cash hasn't been invented yet.
Oh, fuck, you're right.
If it's strange creatures, make their lairs nearby, because I guarantee you the players are going to want to investigate, and they're going to go off and they're going to go and have a look for that thing.
You remember?
Potentially.
You know what?
Mm.
You know what? I actually have an example.
Oh.
Although, is Steely in here? It
No, I
doesn't
don't
look
think
like
so.
he is.
I haven't
Okay,
seen him for
perfect.
a while, so.
Yeah, no, okay. So then I can spoil it. You remember when you
my
guys were going through the forest?
Yeah.
And you found the cave, and
Yeah.
you saw that little trail of, like, goblin wagon tracks, and
Yeah.
Brogan made a fucking intelligence check, got a 20, and I was able to just flat out say, don't go that way, there's nothing there.
Yeah, that's right.
So I actually do kind of have had to do that.
Yeah, I mean, so, well, this is the thing. Sometimes that is the case, sometimes that's not the case, right?
Yeah.
This is definitely a case-by-case basis, but a lot of the time, at least for me, it's like, unless the monster is gonna run away to its lair, I feel like I won't look for it, you know? I mean,
Yeah,
unless if it's like a
unless you
bandit
have
camp,
to
I guess.
kill it.
Well, that's true. What I'm saying is, in this scenario, if we're traveling, it's a random encounter. We get attacked by bandits. I mean, maybe I'll go out of my way to go. It depends on the character, but maybe I'll go out of my way to go and find it. I don't know if that's gonna be necessarily true for everything, but if it's like, I don't know, an owl bear and we kill it, was, you know. If it's something super strange, like he says, and you want the lair to be kind of nearby, then I guess let's go for
100 feet.
Yeah, well, so no, what I'm saying is, whatever strange thing it is, if it runs away, then maybe. But if it doesn't run away and it fights you forever, and then you kill it, or you kill it while it's running, like, I don't know about how many people are going to try to find their lair.
Yeah,
That would be interesting to see. Maybe find out as a kind of a study in a way of just see how many people would
I
go
know
after
that
it.
I personally, like, if I got attacked in a D&D game, obviously, if I got attacked by wolves and we fought them off and they ran away, I don't think I'd chase after them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's not really any point, you know?
And like, I guess the main thing is he's saying is like, if it's a weird thing, right? If it's something notable, right? So something that's out of the ordinary, not like a wolf, but some kind of magical creature, I guess. Like
So,
Displacer Beast. Let's go with Displacer Beast.
Okay, yeah.
That's something that's kind of more unnatural to see on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I would go, why the fuck is a Displacer Beast here?
Yeah.
Right? But
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's like-
many people are gonna... I don't know how many would do that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that actually is a rather interesting conundrum.
Yeah.
I run into the issue where, like, say the random encounter runs back to its lair.
The random encounter runs back to its lair.
Nice.
That
Very good.
Thank you. I just needed to hear those words.
Okay.
They
mean a lot
to
to
hear
me,
these
too.
words.
Okay.
But if what runs back to its lair is a bunch of coyotes or like
Sure.
a bunch of wolves or a cave bear, I'm probably gonna go, all right, well, we survived. Let's not go sticking our noses into trouble
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get out of here. If what runs into its cave is bandits,
Right.
I
More
might-
likely to.
I'm more likely to go there
Yeah.
because they're
Bandits
more
have loot.
likely to. Yeah, they're more likely to have money,
Mhm.
and I can spend that money for goods and services.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, that's it. It really depends, because even with something that's very strange, like what I said with the Displacer Beast, I'm far less likely to try to find it to lair, because it's like,
Yeah, because now
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
oh shit, that's a fucking Displacer Beast. I don't really
Yeah.
want to go fight that on its home turf.
Yeah, exactly. That as well. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess unless somebody super wants a Displacer Beast cloak, like,
Yeah.
which is really good, but like, I don't know.
Like, don't get me wrong, like, you can sell a bear head just
Yeah,
as
true.
easily as you can sell the 15 short swords that the bandits have.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you can sell it, but, like, can you maybe get it to a taxidermist before the meat of the head spoils?
Yeah. Maybe I just want to get the bear meat and cook the bear meat and sell the bear meat to somebody. That'd be cool.
Have you ever eaten bear meat?
No, but I want to.
Do not recommend.
Okay. But I'll
It
still
is-
do it because I need to be closer to my boys.
It is fatty and gristly and
Ooh.
not good.
I like gristle.
I mean, well, then that just means you've never had it cooked well.
Ooh.
I've never actually had it at all, and
Oh, okay.
I saw it eaten on a cooking channel.
Oh.
By pussies.
Yes, clearly it's their fault.
Well, somebody doesn't know how to cook fucking fatty meat.
As I was led to believe, it is not exactly fit for human consumption.
Ah, so this is all
Oh.
hearsay. Got it.
But
God damn it.
but yes, I am positive that you know how to cook better than they do.
Yeah. Well, if they fucking can't cook a bear,
Yeah, if ever I eat bear, I will make sure to stop by your house,
okay, cool.
Sick.
and
I'll
you
cook
can
up a fucking bear. Eat me.
you
the
can
bear.
you can prove it to me yourself.
Okay, get some bear meat, and I'll fucking cook you bear meat.
Well, there we go. You heard it here first.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. So
Guys.
I'm gonna find out Boo's address and just send him bear meat.
Okay, and you know
Free
what,
meat.
guys?
Oh, shit. Oh.
Donate to our Patreon so I can
goddamn
buy
it.
bear meat
No.
and
we're
cook
not-
it.
That's not gonna happen. We're not using
Honestly,
the money.
I bet Amazon carries bear
That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. They carry
because
everything.
they carry everything.
Yeah.
The channel I found it on, the person had bought it online.
my
Oh,
fucking
well,
God.
there you
Of course
go.
they did.
TableTalk Cooking Edition. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
make a bunch of
This is the Hero Feast. I mean, didn't
D&D.
they did make a fucking D&D themed cookbook, like for real.
Oh, they probably did. Yeah, that doesn't
no,
surprise me.
they did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Every universe has a themed cookbook, except for
Yeah,
like
I know they have a
40K.
Fallout one too. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They
Anyway.
have a D&D cookbook, a Martha Stewart cookbook.
Yep.
The Martha Stewart universe.
Every themed universe has a cookbook.
God damn.
You heard me.
Oh my god. Okay.
But yeah, honestly, I would
Oh.
totally get that D&D cookbook and like see what
Yeah,
it's.
it's not, I mean, like
they're about.
they're a novelty, but they're also like they have like actual food, right?
Yeah, it's real recipes.
Yeah. No, of course.
Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean
Oh my
to-
god, start a cooking channel and call the kitchen table. No.
Wait, the what? Oh,
Just-
the kitchen table.
Yeah, just call it the kitchen table, the cooking
Oh
channel.
God.
No. If we ever did anything like that, it
Yeah.
would go on the main channel. It would just be called something stupid. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something with 2 D's.
No.
No, something with 2Ks.
Two Ks, exactly. Alliteration.
It has to be D&D.
Like kitchen klutzes.
Hey.
Dicing and disasters.
There you go. All
Look
right.
forward to that next week.
No.
Yeah.
No. God no.
D&D nachos, man. Fucking hell yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty good. Anyway.
Are going to want to investigate, and they're going to go off and
It's
they're
the
going
hog
to
and
have a look
fish
at it,
tacos.
and it will suddenly turn out into
Kuatoa.
an adventure. About in another video.
Side effect, they make you
So
insane.
watch.
I can't hear what he's saying.
Sorry.
Want to
It's fine.
investigate, and they're going to go off and they're going to go and have a look for that thing, and it will suddenly turn out into an emergent adventure, which I talk all about in another video. So watch out for having encounters that lead to more, and that leads to more. They can spiral out of control. If you just throw in a random NPC, that's a piece of conversation, and you can use that to give them information.
Yeah.
They might say that they're off to Akawakal Forest, and the NPC says, "Oh, Akawakal, yeah, I've got a cousin who lives out there. He lives in one of those walking huts." Very interesting idea about trying to prevent themselves from being eaten by the cannibals. If their village moves around all the time, then well, the cannibals can't find them, can they?
Oh, cannibals.
Now, that might have been an interesting piece
I thought
of
he said
flavouring.
cannonballs.
Cannonballs
I
just
mean,
eating people.
I was like instantly my face screwed up and I was like, I don't think that's what cannonballs do.
Unless they're cannonball mimics. You fire a cannonball mimic into a town.
That would be pretty good, yeah.
Shit.
That you've just made a fly, that the villagers of Akawakal Forest or jungle have mobile houses and homes and things to avoid the cannibals that live in Akawakal.
Yeah, he gives them information.
What you
Pretty
have
cool.
done, however, is you've now created for yourself a gigantic problem. The players are going to stop and go, but we don't know where the village is that we're supposed to meet our point of contact, or however you're starting off your adventure in the Akawakal jungles. So you started to give them pause for thought. Now again, that simply delayed their journey towards Akawakal. You want them to
That's
go
fine.
quickly.
No,
So if the
they can walk and talk, dude. It's,
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
walk and talk and think.
Yeah. I don't know about you,
Like-
but multitasking isn't too hard when it's walking and thinking.
All you've done is helped set up the scene for yourself.
Yeah. Like, sure.
I don't see the problem.
It also
I-
allows. Sorry, go on.
I actually don't see a problem.
Right. It also allows them to make a plan for when they get to Akawakal.
Yeah. I
So
want
like,
to visit the walking house.
yeah, and then they're like, oh, how do we find it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe somebody can track. Oh, who's good at tracking? And then they find the spots that are like, they look like just pole.
They look like house footprints.
Well, what I'm yeah, like large pole-sized holes that were in the ground, and look, they're going in that direction. Ah, we find it, you know.
It
Yeah.
looks like a giant chicken walked in this area.
Or that, yeah, you can make it a Baba
Yeah.
Yaga, absolutely. Like whatever you got to do, you know, they'll figure it out, or they won't, and then you could try to sprinkle something else in of like you hear rustling that way.
You hear the sound of doors closing.
Right, yeah, you
Yeah.
hear joyful music or something, I don't know, but it's like on the move, and like then they go off that way. If you really need them to get there, you can do it, and the only problem you've made for yourself is one that you can solve very easily.
Yeah, it just seems like I don't know who. I mean, I understand because, you know, you want to have them have a journey, but you don't want them to stray that far off
Sure.
the path to the point where the journey becomes a, you know,
It could take
Basically an
multiple
afterthought.
sessions, yeah.
yeah. But I mean, like, if you're gonna have a journey, why not just prep for either?
Sure.
Because I don't like if I'm going on a journey, even if I am going to somewhere very specific, unless there is a hard deadline, I want to see other stuff.
Yeah, if we haven't set a hard deadline, then I don't see why we need to rush. you
Yeah.
know? Or why we need to stay on the path forever that goes straight to the place we gotta go.
Yeah,
You know?
no, that's not fun.
I mean, it can
Not
be
to
and
me,
it can't be, right? Like it depends. It's just like I don't know, man. Like unless something shows up, there's nothing really for me to worry about on the path, so I just assume I'm going there. And if something shows up, then I'll be interested in it, I guess.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
then we have the final and easiest method of, like, you know, dealing with this. You tell your players, hey, the story is going to begin with a journey to this place because you're not there at the moment. And I will give you details. Don't stray from the path too much because I don't have much planned.
Sure.
Boom. A little bit of honesty goes a long way.
Yeah.
Might not be what they want to hear, but they can at least respect your ability to just tell them flat out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
PC says, "Oh yeah, I've got a cousin who lives in Akawakal. He lives in one of those walking villages. you know, it thwarts the cannibals because they're not very smart, so they can't find the villagers, but you can see them a mile away. Just climb up a tree and look for the flags that stick out of the canopy. Leads you straight to them. You can use the trees, as a matter of fact, just to avoid the entire jungle floor. Well, now there's a piece of useful information. It might feel like you're spoon-feeding them information if you do that. So you need to be subtle about it. You need to be careful about it. If it's a trader, maybe it's the trader who's come from that direction. If it's a random farmhand, don't just have a random farmhand talk to the party and not give them anything of value. Why would they talk to them? If it's a friendly wave, that's absolutely fine. But unless there's value in that conversation, unless you're seeding something for a future adventure, don't be tempted to overplay the journey. It's not that important. Now, the locations are fairly interesting that you can throw at people as an encounter. So they can come across a bridge that's being built. They can come across a village that's been burned down. Again, you have to be careful to make sure that you're not giving them any hints or clues as to a potential adventure in the area. You want them to move through. So giving them a location that they suddenly come across, a monolith out in the middle of the field, it might be completely innocuous. It might just be as a bit of flavoring.
Sure.
Absolutely fine. You're seeding that for the future, so you're letting them know that, yes, en route between the capital and Akawakal Forest, there is this strange monolith that was covered completely in black obsidian, but had no detailing on it whatsoever. Detect magic, or whatever system you're using, didn't detect anything, and so the players' characters had to give up and move on. However,
or they start to fuck with the obelisk, and then they're like, maybe we could break it. And
yeah, because it's like, oh, they detected that there's no magic, so...
And then you have the Puffin Forest story that there's an Elfishnay that gets summoned and they all die.
Yeah.
Because that was a part of the fucking book.
Yep. Wasn't that the Sirac?
Yeah,
in, like,
yeah.
Team Horror?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, I guess, yeah, you should, honestly, if he doesn't say it, you should plan for, if you make something on the way, that if somebody, like, plan that they will be interested so that you can be surprised that they're not.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, because otherwise, then, you know, you'll just say, oh, there's just a monolith over there, and then you'll get caught off guard when they go, well, I want to...
Let's fuck it up.
Yeah, I just want to do a bunch of shit to it. I want to see what the fuck it's about. Maybe, can I roll a history on it? Do I know anything about... You know? Like...
Yeah.
So yeah, plan on somebody being interested and just be surprised when they're not. That would be my advice.
The thing is, with D&D and campaigns and worlds as a whole, no matter... Well, okay, not just D&D. This is no matter what.
Yeah.
If you're playing a tabletop role-playing game, if you point something out that is clearly something that you have, like, written, it's not like when I fucking roll a D100 and I'm like, oh,
right,
you see a thing.
Yeah,
you know, when it's obviously not something that came completely out of nowhere, you are highlighting something in the world. That means that it's important. You don't put... Most of the time, like, when you think of it like a book or a movie or something, you only have so much runtime or so many pages that you can put shit into. So if you choose to put anything in this movie or this book, most of the time, it's worth paying attention to, because they only have so much space and they put it in. It must mean something.
Sure.
Now, again, obviously, that's not every time, but the majority of the time, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And so that kind of carries over into D&D, where you're walking around, you see a big fucking obelisk, it's like, oh, even though we can't do anything with this now, this thing's going to be important because he's pointed it out, and it's a fucking obelisk.
Or it could be a red herring. Oh!
Exactly.
Right? It depends.
But that will still take investigation to find out, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So... It's kind of impossible to avoid that.
That obelisk now come alive. What you did was you seeded the obelisk in that first adventure. You didn't let it get in the way because you gave absolutely nothing away, and the players now know about the obelisk. So when you say that the obelisk comes alive, they feel as if they've been involved in the story for a much longer time
that makes sense.
than they actually have. Something to bear in mind, though, if you are going to deny the characters the ability to advance the potential plot that may have come out of a location or an NPC or a villain encounter.
I like what Draco Kraken says. The whole fear of giving the players a potential adventure is kind of silly. If they're more interested in the side quest, let them do the side quest. D&D should be freedom. Which
I think D&D should be D&D, but...
but no, I agree because, like, obviously, again, like we said, unless there's a time limit for this certain thing, and so they know they need to do this, like, they need to get there, and then when they, you know, go past all this shit and they just pass it by, you know, it's because of the time limit, right? Like, you've made it important to that extent, so they're gonna go and do it. But if you just have them, like we said, just lackadaisically, they're going to their next waypoint, basically, and there's something along the road and they get interested in it, there's nothing wrong with just having them have a time. Have a little time with it.
Yeah, I don't really... Yeah.
I think, well, no, I lost it. Cool. Never mind.
Okay.
You need to make sure that you tell your players that. You search around the obelisk, but you realize that whoever was here was just too good at hiding their tracks. You don't think you're going to make any headway by continuing to investigate this object. That sentence...
Whoa,
that sounds like spoon feeding.
Yeah, that's way too spoon. I would say, to the best of your ability, you don't find anything.
Yeah.
If my players want to waste their time, all that does is make me relatively more prepared.
Right, exactly.
Because I have stuff prepared for the next, like, 10 hours of gameplay. And if, like, that 10 hours of gameplay takes 20 hours to complete, oh well.
Yeah.
That's just more cogitating time.
Right. Like, there's so much power in just saying, like, to the best of your ability, this is all you find, right? Because again, they make a roll, whatever they do, they make an investigation roll, and it's just they get like a 13. That's like mid-road, and so you go, you give them some information, and then you go, and that's all you can really remember. Somebody else does something, maybe does another investigation, but then you just go, and to the best of your ability, that's all that you can recall or anything. Like, obviously, you don't want to have them just compounding of like, everybody's going to use an investigation, you know. Obviously, if you want to call for it, then everybody can do it, right? But if you just have somebody go, hi, can I do an investigation roll? And then you go, yeah, you can. And then you get, like, maybe one other person can do it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't want to obviously get them to be like, oh, I'm also going to... And it's just like, why?
Yeah, because then, honestly, then you're just gaming the system.
Right,
exactly. You're just trying to roll more dice.
Exactly. They're just trying to get higher and higher, and it's like, well, okay, you can do it, but I'm not gonna give you any more information because you're just doing it because they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and maybe instead of that, you go, well, you can aid them so they can get like advantage or +2 or whatever system you're using, or you know, you can do something else with your time. You know, they're doing that. They're kind of in the way. They're searching the entire obelisk, let's use, and they're in the way, so you can't really see anything from where you are. You don't think investigating is going to be any more useful with another body trying to crash in, right? And get to these things.
I think in situations like that, like a hard limit of 2 rolls between 2 different people is fine, because like someone's doing it, they are interested, then they fail, then someone else is like, okay, I'll try too, and they're like, okay, but you're only gonna get this one more roll. Think of it kind of like pushing the roll in Call of Cthulhu, except no absolutely, you know, no negative consequences. But you want to throw a wall in front of everybody just rolling dice, unless it's something that needs to be discovered. Then you can be like, everybody do this. That way anybody can see it.
Yeah.
You know?
And like, that's why I've had certain, I've called for perception checks for everyone in the party, because like, I want it to be noticed. And like, and the DC isn't incredibly high,
right?
But it's, for some reason, there's there exists a story reason why I'm not just giving it away for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all of the characters are there, so it makes sense that
Yeah.
if they are perceptive, they may notice it.
Mhm.
I do tend to avoid that simply because I don't want players like dogpiling a
Yeah.
role.
Exactly.
So that's why I make sure that the stuff where I call for a perception check out of everybody, like this stuff isn't generally too important.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's just a cool bit of flavor.
Yeah.
And then it's those times where you get the people that ask for a role, you give it to them, maybe you give one other person it, and then you give, the third person who asks, you just go, no.
Yeah, after having seen the
No.
first two people who are pretty good at it fail, you don't really think you're going to be able to find anything that they missed.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
So, let's not spoon feed. Let's just say, hey, you did what you could.
Don't spoon feed, hand them the spoon. But
Yeah.
you only have 2 spoons to hand out.
Right, exactly.
Will save your players a huge amount of frustration. There is nothing worse than being a player and being told there's an obelisk. Aha, the GM's plot hook. Aha, I will go and investigate this obelisk. And as a player, you throw all your skills, all your abilities, you think outside the box, you think inside the box, you turn the box upside down, you become a Schrodinger's cat inside the box. You do everything that you possibly can. And yet, the GM just says, you don't find anything, you don't find anything, you don't find anything, you don't find anything. That's an incredibly frustrating experience for the player. Headed off at the very beginning, after the first check that the player has made to determine the origin of the obelisk, and by saying, you simply think you cannot find any more because the person who was here was much more skilled at hiding their tracks than you think you currently can detect. All right, the GM has given us this weird little location, but we're going to carry on going. And that's all it becomes, as a footnote in their memory. So make sure that you let your players know beforehand, if you're creating something that they can't really interact with, that they can't really interact with it, because the character who was there before is better and more powerful than they are. If we then look at descriptions...
They're better than you.
They're better than you are.
My
That's
DM
funny.
PCs are better than you are.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a funny line.
A journey is about a description, and when I think of the journeys that I've personally been on, I've been privileged enough to live in a country where the geography is remarkably diverse. We've got deserts, we've got sort of mountains, we've got forests, we've got sea coastlines, we've got open savanna, we've got wildlife. South Africa has got some wonderful geography,
Guy
and I have had the privilege
from the UK?
No, he's from South Africa.
He's South African.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
of walk through most of it. As a result, when I look back at the things that stick out in my memory as to the things that made that journey interesting, it wasn't the fact that I frequently was unhappy about having to walk great distances or carry my own weight or half my weight on my back in terms of camping equipment and that sort of thing. It was the fact that there were experiences. When I was on top of our tallest sort of mountainous area, watching thunderclouds roll in, I remember not remembering that, or not thinking to figure out how to set the tent up first before going on the hike. So the friend who was with me at the time, he didn't know how to set the tent up either. He'd bought the thing, but he thought I did. Of course, I didn't. So as the thunderstorm smacked us on top of this mountain top, it was a terrific tempest of fury and wind and rain. We had to crawl inside the tent and use it sort of like a bag, because the tent posts and poles and
It's a
things
mistake
didn't
you'll
want to
only
stay
make
up
once.
for
Yeah,
whatever
true.
reason. That night was a terrifically terrible night. Everything got wet. Everything got wet because the bag basically acted like a bag and contained a lot of water in it and us by the morning.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that sunrise, which we were waiting for before we could start climbing down the mountain to go and get into our vehicles and drive to the nearest warm space, that mountain in the morning, when that sunlight, because we were waiting for it, when it started to peek over those mountains, and there's that funny, hazy purple light where you can sort of see things, but it's just not comfortable enough to start moving around. And the calmness and the stillness of that, and that scent of everything being freshly cleaned because of this rain that has scourged the top of the mountain. That is what reminds me of that adventure. The way that the tent was being picked up by the wind and rocked about, and we had to hold it down. It wasn't difficult with me inside the tent. It would have to be a significant amount of wind to make it move too far, but the wind was picking up the tent, which would open up the flap and cause the rain to gush in, and it was absolutely horrendous. But that's what I'm talking about, is the senses were engaged. When I think about walks that I used to take along the river, again, it's the smell of that fresh cut grass. It's the feeling of nervousness as you're pushing through the bulrushes, because those blades on those bulrushes, the leaves themselves are very, very sharp, and you can cut yourself so easily on them. And that cold, cool water and the slimy rocks underneath it. So if you're going to be doing descriptions about journeys, I suggest you take a few so that you can get these memories. I mean, we've all gone on journeys, even when you walk to the shop.
Yeah.
What's the experience
I like
that goes through
that.
your mind? Like the other day, now that I'm in Japan, there's very little greenery in the greater
Nobu,
Tokyo
he's in
area,
Japan.
apart from neat little
Oh no, I didn't say he was in South Africa. I said he was South African.
Yeah.
Shut up. I was hoping you wouldn't notice the technicality.
But no, I'm very much for this point. I pay attention to your own journeys, I suppose.
Yeah.
Even
Go
if it's
to
a
South
mundane...
Africa and climb a mountain and sleep in a bag.
Yeah,
in a
sleep in a
thunderstorm.
bag in a thunderstorm. Absolutely. But no, even
Yeah.
if, like he's saying, like a mundane walk to the store, like there's a bunch of stuff that fucking happens. You can notice with all your senses. Like Aiden, you always say that you try to go for all the senses when you describe things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I will describe the smell of the damp wood in the old inn that they're staying at. That doesn't charge a lot of money.
I pass under an underpass. There's a massive train system, and the undercarriage of that. There was a thistle bush that has been growing since the beginning of spring, I suppose, and it had those beautiful purple flowers on it, and now those flowers have turned into those wonderful little floating seed pods which drift around on the air current so easily and so lightly, and almost dance around, if you like. And the other day I was walking back from them, hot as Hades out here, and these things were just quietly drifting, dancing around, looking for all the world like a bunch of fairies in mating season. It was really, really quite spectacular. So when you're doing descriptions, engage your five senses. Think about how you can apply them and give your characters, give your players a description. Again, though, do not give them 20 descriptions. That's not what makes the journey exciting. You remember one or two things that are key. The rest you don't need to worry about. So if they're moving over vast amounts of different...
So that's why one of the things that that can be so beneficial as a DM is if you know good words for certain situations.
Yeah, true.
Like when he describes the flowers dancing as if it's a bunch of fairies in mating season or something.
Very good summary.
But one of the things to keep in mind is D&D is not a challenge for you to sort of pull out your dick and measure how verbose you are. Like, it can certainly be advantageous to know a good word for a good situation, but much like Guy says, you do not need to stack up 20 of them.
No,
like,
exactly.
Your players are more or less intelligent,
Hopefully.
despite how they act in puzzles would lead you to believe your players are more or less intelligent and can get the scene you're trying to set.
True.
Yeah.
Types of geography. Try and engage the senses for each of those different types of geography. So if they're moving through mountains, perhaps you can talk about the coldness of the air in the mountains. If they're moving through river areas, talk about the mosquitoes that sting and that bite, so that you're engaging touch. If they're moving through forests, talk about the sounds that you hear, the softness of your boots as they crunch over leaf litter that's decades old, and that incredible sense of living that seems to be going on, but you can't see any of it. So engage the senses if you're going to be doing descriptions, and draw on your own journeys. That's the important thing. Now, checks and challenges, it depends on what sort of system you're using, but most systems have got some kind of survival or nature or tracking or guide, skill or natural knowledge, nature or something along those lines, which allows people to make checks of their surroundings. Again, I wouldn't bombard them with hundreds and hundreds of checks. Checks really take you out of the narrative sort of experience, but they can build tension for the players, which is of benefit. So have them make some checks, but the checks don't really need to succeed or fail. Those checks are merely to simulate the environment. So a jumping check or an agility check as they have to cross some rivers and streams, and the laughter when the dwarf doesn't make it and so his boots are wet. That's the total ramification of it, to create these little moments of memory on the journey. And then that's it. Don't make it a huge amount of checking. The forest, Axolotl or whatever the place is called, the forest is going to have all kinds of dangers and checks and things, and that's your next journey that you're going on. So you don't want to overshadow that by the significant journey that they're going on.
Sure.
And then finally, surprise discoveries. Now, surprise discoveries are things that your players come across that are just moments. Now, they are really a kind of a combination of all of the other elements that we've spoken about so far, but they are things like a spectacular sunset over the glass plains, which is grass that the seed pods become translucent in a certain temperature, and as the sun is setting, those seed pods on top of the grasses, because they're all translucent, they create this mirror-like effect. And it looks like a sea of glass, and it's just beautiful for a moment. And the elk that are feeding on the grass look as if they're actually swimming across this pristine lake, but in this bizarre hybridized Rorschach test of some kind, as they're mirrored moments. You can also have them come across a secret door that...
You know, I would love to have the guy describe a bunch of shit to me for a game. He seems very, very good at it.
I was just thinking that he's very verbose.
Yeah. I would love it. It'd be really fun. I know we haven't said too much of it because he's not saying anything. Like, we're agreeing, right? Like, there's nothing to criticize at the moment. This is just,
it's just good shit.
Yeah, it's just good at the end here.
I would also totally listen to an audiobook of guys.
Yeah, that's also true. I would, because he would do voices and shit for characters and like. Yeah. Oh man, I wonder if he's done an audiobook actually.
I think he might have actually.
Oh, I might have to look it up. Okay. Because like this has been very soothing, honestly. Like all this, because again he's describing all this shit and I'm just like, yeah, I can see it. It's really nice.
Sealed completely. It's in a wall that's crumbled. The other side of the wall, the door isn't there, so the door clearly goes somewhere, but it's magically sealed, or there's a curse written above the door frame. It could be that they come across a fantastical creature. Something that's not aggressive, it's not an NPC, it's not really a monster, it's not going to attack them, but it's a unicorn in a forest glade. It's a silver fish that is swimming, but swimming about 4 inches above the water of the river. And when it sees the characters, it suddenly drops into the water and disappears off under the rocks. It's a magical moment. Again, just to punctuate the journey, so that when the players sit back, they go, oh, you know, that adventure in the jungles was terrifying, but do you remember that journey that we took to get there, where we saw the three-headed whatever, or where the sunset was absolutely golden, or... That's what you're looking to do when you're doing a journey montage, is to create a moment that the players can latch onto and really, really relish as far as that.
And then they can't
not
complain.
Want the players to go, oh my god! And then we spent 3 sessions walking. I have spoken about this before, I know, but it is a bugbear of mine. Don't just have them walk inch by inch, grid block by grid block on your map.
Oh, that would
Get
be
them to
crazy.
punctuated with some amazing moments, and you will be surprised at how eager your players are to go on more journeys. Until next time, I hope this video has been useful. If it has been, hit that like button.
It's
Want to
a
see
good
more on this
video.
kind
Yeah,
of
overall,
discussion-y
yeah.
sort of thing,
There's a couple of
hit the
things like
subscribe
usual of
button.
like,
Next week, we're
Yeah, a
looking-
couple of small gripes,
yeah,
but
but
no big deal.
this was only
Yeah.
from 2 years ago, so obviously we're this was him no longer cutting hands off or having semen in a cup. It's,
I forgot about that.
oh, I never will.
One
Yeah.
would almost call that a guy in his prime.
It's true. But yeah, that's
How
that.
am I supposed to watch guys' videos if he doesn't mention hands and semen?
Yeah, right.
I know, it's crazy. It's
What's
just
the
like
point?
it's
What's even
missing
the point?
something.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like
just-
watching a Garibay video where he's actually intelligent.
Oh,
It's just not the same.
it's just not the same.
It's like from a parallel universe. It's
Yeah.
unnerving.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be the only video we watch tonight, I think. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That was
That's
a
fair.
2-hour video, but we're not
Yeah.
done yet. We'll just hang out for a bit. We can talk to chat. If you got any
Oh.
questions about traveling or anything really, we'll be happy to answer
How many people
them.
are in chat at the moment? Because I know
Uh,
you can.
There's like 6 viewers at the moment, I think.
Oh,
Hi Tyler. Hi Chris. I know you're in here, you fuckers.
Oh my god. But before, of course, think of your questions if you got any. But before, of course, we do that, then I will do the shoutouts and the shill talk, as is tradition at the midpoint, or really whenever we really feel like it. But
Listen to the end of the podcast for a spoiler for the campaign.
maybe,
Maybe.
Oh shit.
maybe, Ooh.
May- Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Interesting.
You might be surprised.
You might be
Donate
surprised.
to the podcast for a really good spoiler.
Yeah,
Fucking
donate
hell.
to the podcast for spoilers.
God damn it. Okay, so we're brought to you,
What?
of course.
Find out the AC of the bugbear I'm planning to throw at you guys.
We're brought to you, of course, by our lovely patrons. Thank you so much. If you want to contribute, you don't have to, but if you want to, TableTalk is on Patreon at patreon.com/TableTalkDND. Yeah, so we've got Draco Kraken, been in the chat, hanging out with us. Thank you so much at that tier 3. Mog Zero as well, tier 3. Thank you so much. Slazer, also been in the chat. Tier 3. Thank you. Steely, haven't seen him today, but he's still at tier 3, flipping them golden tables. Thank you so much.
I hope he is well.
I do too. I hope you're all well.
Because
I'm
I know
sure.
that he was commenting he was talking to the Discord earlier.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It seemed fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's doing his thing. Then we've got Drake Cross at tier 2, holding that silver table line. Thank you so much. Then we've got Chris at
Do
tier
not
1.
let that line fall, no matter what you do.
Of course.
Fix
Chris,
bayonets.
we've got Chris at tier 1. Thank you very much. Frozen Spaghetti as well at tier 1. Kill Chrono at tier 1. Thank you. And finally,
Getting ready to affix bayonets to charge the enemy position.
yes.
No, we will not stop the mortar fire. Why would we do that?
No, God,
Yeah,
no.
no, that's fucking
that'd
stupid.
be stupid, right?
That's
And-
Because we stopped the-
See,
Yeah, if we stop the border fire, they're just gonna fucking shoot you as you're charging.
That's
You
true.
idiot.
And last but not least, of course, Polyhedral, our newest, at tier 1. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hello.
And hope you're enjoying. And then, of course, you can go on TeePublic, get our logo on a shirt, or whatever else they sell. I'm looking into trying to find out how we can get custom dice bags at some point with our logo on it. That would be pretty sick. I
Should
think.
we get a dice bag with our logo, or should we get dice bags that have our future good art? Because then you could have like an
could do both.
Alejo dice bag, an Aiden dice bag,
True,
or
true.
a Boo dice bag.
Ooh,
Could do both. Absolutely.
I want to say our logo off the top of my hat, but like I can't say no to the popularity contest that is.
No, I mean like
True.
yeah.
True.
So like, not like one of us three, or maybe we could vote.
No,
you can
no.
have people
No,
vote.
no.
Do one of us three and then offer all three, and then we'll never officially say it was a popularity contest, but we'll know.
But
Yeah,
we'll
we'll know.
No, yeah, maybe in the future, absolutely. We'll see how it goes, but for now, I'm just trying to find a place to sell dice bags through.
Fear of the commissar. Yeah, I think you mean respect of the commissar, you big son of a bitch.
Until the rather go. Yes. Actually, that is something to talk about as well. Since we're at the point of just hanging out, chilling with you guys. Again, if you got questions, let us know. But I was wondering if maybe next week we could do a Warhammer podcast. Actually,
Ooh.
A Warhammer podcast where we talk about Warhammer, or
Yeah,
one
yeah,
where
where
we play Warhammer.
what we could do.
Oh
Both.
no, I was just.
But I'm thinking like maybe we could find our favorite bits of lore and like talk about them. And maybe talk
Anything
about
Belisarius Call or Caiaphas Cain.
Okay. Well, you'll be in charge of your bit.
Honestly,
or Tuska Damon Slayer.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Nice.
he's great.
is it
So
Demon Slayer or Demon Slayer?
It is spelt D-A-E.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spelled Damon.
Damon.
Whether or not orcs actually pronounce it Damon
Mhm.
is questionable.
Yeah, I doubt it. They
Who
probably
knows?
say Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have such trouble with
Mhm.
Warhammer lore because the Tyranids always fucking lose.
That's fine. That's fine.
And I'm
Well,
like, damn it, they never win.
Well,
Because they always attack fucking Space Marines.
I was gonna say if they won, we would die.
I know, but like every
be
fucking
dead.
time.
I mean, even all the battles are still really cool. Like how much they have to sacrifice in order to actually beat them back and shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's still a losing battle every
Oh, yeah.
time because
The
even
thing-
if we win, it's a Pyrrhic
Yeah.
victory. You know?
There was somebody who I watch a lot of Luton 06 or Luton
Right.
09, I think.
Oh,
it's
nice.
09.
I think. Yep.
09? Okay. And he did he's done videos on like basically every single faction in 40K. And a lot of the ones that he's talked about with the Tyranids were really, really good because, it's basically just the lore of the Tyranid Wars or Tyrannic Wars. And people were, someone posted a comment that it would be fucking cool as hell to see like a TV show or an animated series where it starts off on this hive world.
Okay.
And like a human hive world.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like Tyranid.
It's the only hive world. Yeah.
Yeah. They starts off on this hive world. In a hive city, I should say.
Yeah.
And they're just doing their shit. You meet all these different characters and stuff, and you go like a couple episodes in, dealing with like the politics and all the kind of underground and nasty shit that happens like in the underhive and shit.
Like the
and then it
Necromunda
ends
stuff.
on episode 2 ends on seeing a gene stealer in there.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Have Gene
shit
Stealer
starts
cult?
going down. Like,
Dude.
the Gene Stealer cult starts growing in power and stuff like that. And then eventually, like, maybe episode, 6 or 7,
Right.
you see the fucking Tyranids coming down.
Yeah,
And it's focused on these characters, but they're fucked.
Oh yeah, they're gonna die. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're all gonna die. And so it would just be
Absolutely.
an incredible show to watch.
It would be so good. I
know.
would watch that so much because I would love just seeing how they deal with their inevitable demise.
Yeah,
You
and then
know?
seeing, like, because you can totally have, like, these fucking reprehensible bastards up at, like, the high society of the Hive City, where they only eat Electrum coins, that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then they get, like, fucking ripped apart by, like, a Haruspex or a Lictor or some shit. They,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
eat their brains. It'd be fucking great.
It'd be super cool.
You can see the Bio Titans like stomping around.
Yeah,
oh
totally.
man.
Where you talk about World of Warhammer. Yes, Pizza Funk. Fucking hell.
Hell yeah, dude, if you want 40k lore, check out Adeptus Ridiculous. Yeah,
It is. Yeah, I haven't looked at
I've
it
been
yet,
watching
but
a lot. Like, I watch Bricky's content anyway,
yeah.
and he's one of
I
the
saw he was
hosts.
on there. Yeah.
Yeah, him and DK Diamond
he was-
Montes or whatever.
Yeah.
Montes.
He was. I saw a clip from it of him talking about the story of the Militarum that ran out of ammo and then started to shoot the orcs
I'm a
by
tank,
saying,
I'm a tank.
Yeah, I'm a tank. Yeah.
That is an old joke.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's such a
so
good one. It's such a good one. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
I don't know. I'm an AdMech player. I pretty much accepted heresy. That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
You are the only acceptable heretic.
and hey, man, you've got those goddamn Castellan robots that can just fucking
so good.
shoot those stakes into the ground and then just have like 90 shots.
Yeah,
you're good.
Fucking hell.
Even if you are a heretic, nobody can fucking stop you. Dude, actually, did you see play on tabletops like tournament shit that they do once a year?
Yeah. I've been keeping up with them.
Yeah. I just recently watched Pacific Rim Dark because I hadn't
Oh,
seen
it was so good. Yeah.
It was really good. They had their tournament and it was Space Marine Steve versus Tack, I think his name is.
Tack, yep.
And he fucking like tabled him turn
Oh,
one.
yeah.
With those
it was
fucking
so
Castellan
fucked.
robots. It was so bad. They had a fucking rematch.
Yeah, they had a live stream of it. Yeah, I watched a bit of that. Yeah.
Those things seem fucking broken.
They're pretty good.
Castellans are kind of rough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even watch a ton of Warhammer content because, frankly speaking, I find it dry as hell.
Sure.
And even like I've seen some episodes of, I think it was Tau versus the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Okay.
And like
The Sky Battle.
Yeah. And like, fuck, dude, those things like
they did so much damage in that.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll get some sort of errata that will like.
I think isn't 9th out for Adeptus Mechanicus? Yeah, it is out. The Codex is actually out.
I guess that one was when they were still in 8th. So hopefully they're not so ridiculously strong.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into it at all because I don't have the book, but yeah.
You know what we need to do at some point? We don't have to do it on the podcast, but you, me, and Aiden need to play fucking Gladius, because I bought you Gladius, Aiden. I'm pointing at you through my wall.
Shut up, you don't know where Maine is.
Yeah.
You don't know where in Maine I am.
I don't know what direction north is, but yeah, I'm pointing at you, because I bought you Gladius and the Tau.
True.
Specifically, because I know you're going to play them.
Because you know I'm a weeb.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know you're a fucking
super
weeb. I'm a weeb too, but I go for the tentacle monsters, not the fish.
You sense how much my pants drip at the word mech.
Yes,
it's true.
And then we also need to play Mech Warrior at some point again, because that's fun.
Dude, I have Mech Warrior. Like, I'm not even playing it, and I keep it updated.
No, me too.
Are we talking about the newest one or online?
No, Mech Warrior 5. No, the Mech Warrior, the online one.
Online one, okay. I can download that at some point.
I mean, hell, I still get emails from them that's like, hey, you can get 2 free mechs if you log in. And I'm like, okay. I already have so many mechs that I'm comfortable with, I don't bother.
Gotcha. Yeah, we should do that at some point. That would be fun.
Yeah. I was like, the thing is, when we play, I have to be the one to host it because I have the DLC that lets you get your Titan units.
Oh.
You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe host a game.
Do we want to play it now? I thought you don't have it installed.
No. I mean, for viewers of the channel, like we can set that up.
True.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Could do that.
The thing is, since we're we always talk about D&D and tabletop RPGs. It's always a little bit weird even broaching the subject. You guys want to watch us play video games and shit.
Right, it's true.
But I mean, we're all fucking gamers here, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, and like, I've had the idea of starting a tourney for Warhammer, if people are interested.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. It would be one of the ones that I'd actually have to learn the rules for. Even better.
Yeah.
But yeah, that, and like, I want to get a lot more viewer involvement. Be really fun.
Yeah.
I'm putting the call out now. If you're a patron and you have a video that you want us to watch, hey, send it our way.
And we'll watch it.
We'll watch it at some point. We'll do a patron episode or however many it takes every now and again in order to watch them. So find one that you want us to look over, and hey, we'll do it. Yeah, that, and like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff we can do. It's just one of those things of finding the time, because time.
Oh my god, that's fucking beautiful. Holy shit.
What?
It's a Hormigaunt print. Look at this. This is gorgeous. Like the fucking bam.
Oh, that actually like looks good.
Yeah, no, that one's really good.
Shit.
Man.
Usually the prints for
Nids look real bad.
well, prints in general don't look that great.
Yeah. God damn, that's another one.
That must be a high-end printer.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll show you.
That's another one. Holy shit. Is this the same one? It might actually be the same one. Here you go. This one's got color. It's in full color. Look at
Oh, it
that.
might be, yeah.
It's a fucking Hormigaunt. Jesus.
Looks really good.
Yeah, like, holy shit. That's like some Forge World level shit.
That's true.
Man.
Wait, show that.
Because I'm building my Hormigaunts right now. And I'm putting toxin sacks on them.
Yeah.
I'm basically doing them the same way I did my Termagants, but with toxin sacks instead of the Devourers. So 15 of them are going to have toxin sacks, and then any 6s will be the additional damage.
Right, yeah. But yeah, so let's plan on next week. We all get a bit of lore. A bit of lore.
Okay.
And we can go over it a bit, and we can talk about some Warhammer stuff, because we have yet to.
I have a bit of bonus lore for you that you don't even have to wait till next week for. The 40k orcs are the only faction which is legitimately happy.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That is true. That is absolutely correct. They do what they love, and what they love is fighting.
Yep,
having a good fight.
Speaking of orcs, how are yours coming along? Have you done any
Great
painting?
question. They're over there still.
Do you have? Did you get paint, or were you still waiting on it?
I have some paint. I haven't even started. Like, I've built like 2 guys, and then yeah, I was gonna do it on stream. That was gonna be a thing at some point, as well. Maybe next time while we're talking about Warhammer lore. That would actually be good. Okay, yeah. You know what? Hey, you heard it here now. First, we're gonna talk Warhammer lore, and I'll be painting on camera. Wow, crazy.
Oh boy.
I'll put it right here, and then I'll put my ring light that I have now, and I'll put it over it so it actually gets illuminated right, and then you can see it, and it'll be great.
Huzzah.
Huzzah! Fuck it. Because I'm not going to do it otherwise, and I'm going to show you guys how bad I am at painting and assembly, so it'll be great.
So do you have a like a practice thing that you can paint? So like, what do you have basically?
Oh, I have a bunch of boys. I got yes, but do you have olives? No, I could get some. I have a bunch of boys. I've got a war bus and knobs and the Killican. No, sorry, not Killican. The Death Druid. And
what, you got to start collecting, didn't you?
Yeah, I got to start collecting, and I bought the war bus box so that I could get the war boss instead of getting the metal one that's like $25.
Fuck that.
Yeah, no, this one is a war boss plus like 5 other knobs. So
So, with the Def Dread, do you have any parts that were never used? Maybe for like a gun that you chose not to equip?
I haven't yet built it, but
Okay.
yeah, I will have parts that I won't use. Absolutely.
Okay, so when you build your Def Dread, however you choose to do it,
Mhm.
assemble everything else, like the gun that you don't want to use,
Sure.
and use the gun that you don't want to use as a practice painting
That
model.
is a good idea.
What I did when I first started painting was one of the first models that I got was a harpy.
Hmm.
And you can build the harpy kit in two ways. You can build it as either a harpy or a hive crone, and the hive
Gotcha.
crone has a different head.
Hmm.
And so I put together the head, and then I didn't put it on because I needed to
Hmm.
make the harpy, and I just used the head as a way to test paints.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
can do
another
that.
thing that you can do if you in between painting sessions, what I have done is
Mhm.
I basically got, sorry, I didn't mean to, dominate this
No,
with
you're good. No,
fucking
you know
painting
more than
tips.
I do, honestly.
Um what I did was I went to the store and I got those like orange mailing packages
Yes. Yep.
that have a tiny little bit of bubble wrap in
Yeah,
in
I got
it.
plenty of them from Amazon.
Okay. If you have like a big one,
Mhm.
you should take your primer of choice, whichever primer you're going to use, and prime over it kind of like thickly.
Okay.
And then let that dry and use that as a way to test paints.
Okay.
And if you keep it orderly and you have a set paint like color scheme,
Mhm.
you can paint like a square of it in that color, and every time you're going to reuse that color, you can apply the newly mixed color onto the old thing to make sure the color matches. So
Okay.
hang on, I'll take a picture, and then once you see the picture, you'll kind of understand.
Yeah,
Okay, so hang on.
yeah.
Discord. This. So this is a big mailing packet completely sprayed over with gray primer,
Oh, okay.
and all of those different squares are just the colors that I use on the models. And so when I'm mixing the dark brown for the bodies,
Hmm.
I mix it in the palette and then I just take a small amount of it and paint it onto the brown square up at the top. And
Hmm.
if the color matches, then it's good to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Very helpful way to make sure get your ratios right.
Right, yeah. Okay.
And then also, when you make your paint ratios, you fucking write that shit down.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
It's funny because I was watching Midwinter Minis. He's actually the one that basically helped me figure out how to even do this shit at all,
Yeah.
because I had never done it before. And he is on paternity leave right now because he just recently had twins.
Oh, yeah.
And so a lot of other Warhammer miniature people are making little snippet videos, and
Hmm.
he's compiling them into little things and putting them together and putting them up just so he has content going up.
Right, right.
And one of the tips was like, write down your paint mixtures, and all the comments were like, holy shit, I never would have thought to do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really?
I mean, dude, you think you're gonna remember, that's the thing.
I
Like,
guess so, but like, having come into the hobby brand spanking new, like just last year, that was one of
sure.
the first things I did was start by compiling and writing down what my fucking paint mixes were gonna be.
That's fair, yeah.
So it just seemed a little bit odd being like, you guys never thought to do that? And you've done this for like how long?
Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I don't
have,
know.
I've got, like, I haven't even, like, taken the plastic off my primer can that I have, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a, oh, what is this? I bought some, matte fluid.
Like matte medium.
Yep, matte medium.
Nice.
To have that as well, and I have, a few paints that I got a long while ago, and some that I got from a D&D set specifically, but they're still the same kind of paint, so I
Yeah.
can use them for whatever. And then
Yeah.
I bought a single bottle of, I think it's Goblin Green from Game Color, or no, sorry. Where is it?
It was like an army painter or something. I
Yeah,
know that color
something.
name.
Yeah. But it's over here somewhere. I have a bunch of I have it all here and it's ready to go. I just haven't done shit with it, right?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand that because
I don't
hell,
wanna
even
fuck it
knowing how, that's the first thing that'll hang you up is
Yeah.
being scared that you'll fuck it up, and the second thing is honestly just being in the mood. I have all these
Also that-
miniatures that are ready to go. They're primed and totally ready to just get paint slapped on there, but
right.
I am often just not in the mood to paint.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hell, I got a Tyrannifex just sitting here, and he's ready for a big fucking splash of shade.
Right.
But, I mean, God, it's super easy to do, but God, I can't force myself to do it.
That's fair, yeah.
So, now I just spent the whole podcast basically putting together my second barbed Hyrule and my first batch of Hormagaunts.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's been fun.
Nice. Yeah, I have the fucking what is it? The plastic cement or whatever it is.
Yeah. The Citadel one?
No, this is Testers.
Ah, right, yeah,
and
Testers
it's
good.
real good. Yeah, it's holding these boys together. Great.
Yeah. Testers and Ravel are really, really, really good.
Gotcha.
I use Ravel.
Cool. All right, we've kind of just gone into just talking about random bullshit at this point. So
yeah, but I mean,
it's good. It is related. It is part of the tabletop.
All we need to do is talk about the Warhammer RPGs, and then it'll all be linked.
I mean, just Warhammer in general is linked anyway.
Oh, I know. It's just the fact that we're tabletop RPG podcast, so we get their RPGs and we're good.
True. But yeah, so I think that'll do it for us for tonight. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with us. Just chill at the end here, shooting the shit. Learning a bit about the next time coming. And that'll do it for us. Do you have your spicy spoiler that you're gonna say, Aiden, or
yeah?
Maybe not.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's how I get around not preparing one in the first place.
That's what I thought. There you go.
Nice.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming. Thanks for hanging out, and hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week for the Warhammer stuff, and hope you're excited for that. Maybe it'll interest you in the hobby if you've never looked into it at all. Because the lore is something that can really drag people in. It's real good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Well, there's some aspects of it that aren't great, but we'll talk about some stuff.
But I mean, nothing's perfect.
Exactly. But we'll get to it. So, thanks again. It's only been a little bit, but I will again thank our patrons. Going from top to bottom, we got Draco Kraken, Mog Zero, Slazer, Steely, Drake, Cross, Chris, Frozen Spaghetti, Kill Chrono, and Polyhedral. Thank you again. And don't forget that the podcast can be found on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a live broadcast. Then again at 4 p.m. on Fridays, Eastern Standard Time for the VOD, and again on your podcasting services of choice around noon-ish on Mondays, Eastern Standard Time. Devils and Dice goes up on Wednesdays when we have it available. And we have a bunch of episodes out there. If you haven't checked it out yet, do so. It's
Steely's already got a leg up on you, you big bastards. You gotta catch up to him.
it's been a good time.
I have a general question for you all.
Oh,
is next week the start of when it turns out ours is yet another Warhammer podcast? Because I have 3 Warhammer podcasts I listen to.
No, I know. I listen to Warhammer a lot.
It's gonna be 4 now after
No,
this.
we're not gonna be dedicated to it. Obviously, we might come
No.
back to it every now and again. If the need is there.
If the need is dire.
Right.
But the is Goj Van Dyer, one might say?
He's good. Well, he could be. Yeah, I mean, we that's the thing. We can go into it a bit on occasion. We'll see how it goes, because it depends on. Honestly, it really depends on how it does. If people like it or not. Please let us know when we do it if you enjoy what we do for it, and maybe we'll try to structure it differently or something if we do it again. But it's not going to be a regular thing unless people really want it. We'll see how it goes, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, bye everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye now.
Bye bye.
Bye.